G'day guys and welcome to the Rainbow Six Pro League here for the ANZ region. We have for you Playday number 7 in the Pro League. We have 4 best of 1 series coming up later tonight in which you will see 4 teams going at it. I'm Dev Marta and joining me as always is the one and only Monkey Fist.
Hello, how we doing?
Doing well. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. It's been a while since we've cast together, Monkey, so nice to get back onto that duo.
Yeah, definitely. Probably maybe second week of Pro League we did it, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And then we didn't get a chance for the Paris qualifiers, but nonetheless, really excited to be casting back with you again. We've got 4 matches coming up tonight, but first off, let's have a look at all the teams that are in the league. Kicking it off with the standings, as you can see on your screen right now, Atletico currently really dominating in the scene at the moment, stepping up ahead of Fnatic and Darksided, who I think most people would have expected to be the next in line to that throne.
Yeah, definitely. So, Atletico have managed to stretch out in front. Of course, they did drop a map to Darksided, which, we consider those guys to be fairly even, but Darksided seem to not be performing to that level that we've seen them, especially in the previous seasons. Not that they're playing bad, it's just Atletico are playing better than them this season.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, I'm interested to see how it's going to turn up down the line, especially since these top 4 positions are very heavily contested because how we have this format for the Pro League this season is we have an 8-team round robin, and then after each team has played every other team in 2 best of 1s, we head on to the playoffs, where the top 4 teams are the only ones that get to proceed to the next level. So, these top 4 spots currently taken by Atletico, Fnatic, SYF, and Darksided are going to be very heavily contested, and SYF really stepping it up to put themselves into that position, and I think also Control really kind of contesting for that, that top half of the standings, as not a lot of people had really expected much from them.
Oh yeah, definitely. They've definitely been standout performers for us, but I think tonight is we've got mostly bottom of the table clashes. Is that right?
That's right. Well, partly, I guess you could say. Why don't we head on and look at the schedule for tonight's matches? We'll be seeing some of your favorite teams going at it. Taboo and Outlaws. That is the 8th place team in Outlaws and the 5th place team in Taboo. We'll be playing it. So that's, both teams who are on the bottom half of the standings currently. They're going to be playing 2 best of 1s, and then later in the afternoon, we're going to have Atletico and DedSet.
Yeah, definitely. So we got Atletico as that top of the table giant. And then the other 3 are in the bottom half. So, what are we thinking tonight? What's going to happen?
Honestly, I think most people are expecting for the later matches that Atletico are going to take on DedSet fairly comfortably. Atletico just really showing up, and DedSet, well, they had some good matches. They did tie against Taboo earlier in the season, and they have had some other good matches. They're just not quite looking up to that same form. They've had quite a lot of roster changes, not just between seasons, but also moving into this season, having roster changes within this season. But first up, Outlaws and Taboo. Let's have a look at who we've got playing in those matches, kicking it off with Outlaws.
Yeah, so we've got Bundy, Casper, Joker, Tins, and Muesli. Now, this lineup has been around for a reasonable while now. They have had, of course, their changes here and there. But coming into this Pro League season, what we've seen from them, they've had some good ideas, but ultimately they haven't been able to stand up together, and I think it might be because they've had roster changes coming into this.
That's an interesting thought. I definitely agree. They've had lots of good ideas, a lot of strategies we've seen coming out from Outlaws. Something that really springs to mind is their border defensive vents, where they use a heavy presence using mirrors and castle barricades to kind of cement themselves with a hold inside of customs, and also a mirror facing towards tellers. But I don't know, it's had mixed success. So I do like this team being very strat oriented, but I think that sometimes it's sometimes the fundamentals that they tend to lack in that leads them to lose out in these matches.
Yeah, for sure. So then, of course, on the flip side, we've got the Taboo lineup. Dev, why don't you walk us through that one?
So Crude having brought together this team, he is the IGL. We've also got joining him Jam, Strider, Striking, and Rippy. 3 players that'd be the top 3 on that list are the same from Taboo from last season. However, Striking and Rippy making the plunge over from Outlaws, actually bringing up to Taboo when Joey G went over to SYF and Northix stopped playing. So I mean, an interesting team. I think a lot of people had expected maybe a bit more from Taboo. But no, this season they've actually been kind of gradually making their way down. There was once upon a time with a very different looking team where Taboo were the top of ANZ just at the start of the first season of Pro League that we had here, season number 6, technically. But no, since then, Taboo managed to pull out top 5th position in the last season. That's where they are currently residing this season as well.
Yeah, so, Taboo traditionally been a very strong team, like, definitely top 3, but yeah, you really feel like with all those roster changes they had, like if you think back to the original roster of Taboo with like Deals and Fnatic and everyone, that was a top 3 contender right there.
Oh yeah, that was even a top 1 contender at the time. But no, it's Crude, the only remaining member from that team. And some all-stars on his side as well, Jam and Strider, in particular Strider being a player who actually only first joined the Pro League for last season's Pro League. He was previously just a much lower level player, hadn't really had much comp experience, but he's really been showing up. That said, if we talk about how these two teams are going to interact, Outlaws and Taboo, I think that this is going to be a much closer match than the second one of tonight when we have Atletico and DedSet going at it. But I really think that this is probably going to swing in Taboo's favor. But that said, Outlaws have been showing themselves to be quite a strong team, and Taboo not quite actually fulfilling the shoes of their former rosters. So anything could happen.
Yeah, I reckon it is definitely going to be a slogfest. But, while we're talking about what can happen, what maps we're going to see it happen on, though?
Well, that's a good point. We've got a ban phase. So just for a little bit of insight into the format, it's a double best of 1. It's not a best of 3 series. We're going to have 2 matches which have individual ban phases, and they're each going to be played out in a best of 1. So to kick it off, we're going to be playing on Clubhouse. And, well, for that ban phase, we had the default bans, which is bans from these teams, the matches they played in their most recent match. They're off the table. Outlaws took out Coastline and Bank from the equation. Makes a lot of sense to me. Taboo quite strong on Bank in particular. And Taboo are going to get rid of Villa and Oregon. Villa being a map that some teams just not quite prepared for just yet, it being so new. And Oregon being a staple that, a lot of teams are well practiced on. Maybe Taboo just wants to steer clear of it, leaving us with Clubhouse.
Yeah, but you say Oregon's a map that everyone's well practiced on, but Clubhouse is just the same. Like, of course, has had a few changes, but it's definitely coming in as a map that people are really definitely starting to favor.
Interesting. I do actually really enjoy the new Clubhouse. One of my favorite maps in the competitive pool at the moment. I think that the changes have really made it much more of a dynamic map, especially the changes around the new area construction between the master bedroom and logistic and cash room. And it's actually made cash room one of the most favored sites at the moment. Also the changes in garage as well. We've seen a lot of play from it recently, but that said, if a team such as Taboo has strategies for the old Clubhouse coming into new Clubhouse, you do have to make a lot of changes. So some teams might not necessarily be prepared for that. So this will also come down to who has the better strategies, not just who is the better overall versatile team.
Yeah, well, we did see Clubhouse last week, didn't we? Or at least recently with Taboo versus Control. And Control were just schooling on them, weren't they? So maybe that's why Outlaws are thinking of taking them there.
That's a very good point. We didn't really mention this before, but yeah, last week, Control actually really dominated over Taboo, and Control currently in 6th position, so they're a little bit after Taboo, but nonetheless, they really managed to pull them forward. And Clubhouse, I believe, was a 6-1. You were casting that. I'm not quite sure if I got that right, but yeah, really dominant stuff. So that does really bring something over to Outlaws, maybe on that map pick.
Yeah, well, it's definitely going to make Taboo think that, maybe they have gone back to the drawing board and rethought all their strategies for Clubhouse.
Yeah, and so for the second map, we're going to be seeing the second best of 1 series. It's going to be Border, and the bans that we got to that point, Clubhouse is going to be a default ban because that's what they're playing in this one, and Villa being the other default ban. Taboo getting rid of Oregon once again, and funnily enough, Bank. A little bit surprising to me. I would have thought that Outlaws banned Bank in the previous ban phase, so maybe it would be a Taboo favored map, but nonetheless, Taboo get rid of it, and Outlaws getting rid of Coastline and Consulate.
Yeah, so, ending up on Border. The reason I feel like the reason why they're getting rid of Bank is they were comfortable ending up on Consulate or Border as well. Like, they're smaller maps, they're easier to play together as a team, whereas Bank does require a lot of coordination. So that might be the thoughts heading on into that one.
Yeah, and Border, as I said earlier, has been a standout map for Outlaws, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think that they've been doing really well on it, but they've just been doing some interesting things with mixed success. And so I'm interested to see how that's going to work out for them. But nonetheless, we're about to get into map number 1. That is Clubhouse, with Outlaws starting out on attack, Taboo on the defense, getting right on into the first game of Playday number 7. Take it away, Monkey.
Oh yeah, sure. See ya. Anyway,
you can take this one solo if you want, mate.
Yeah. Well, you told me to take it away, so I'll take it all. But yeah, just quickly to note, the reason why we're a bit delayed starting, and the player just having some issues with their game as we're heading into the ban phase. Taboo will be banning, I'm guessing, Blackbeard. Nope, Thermite.
Oh,
that's what we saw from him last week as well, wasn't it?
I actually don't remember. It was you.
They banned the Thermite, and then the other team banned the Thatcher, and that played right into Control's hands. So, you know, are we going to see a Thatcher ban here from Outlaws? Like, it's definitely something we've been seeing a lot on Clubhouse altogether.
And I mean, there you go, Thatcher getting off the board as well. So exact same ban phase in the attack side that we saw last week. Now, I just wanted to talk about this Thermite ban for a minute. Clubhouse on the basement attack, Hibana regarded as the most important operator for getting those hatches, but Thermite's also very important for opening the dirt tunnel if you intend to incorporate that into your push. And now that we have the top floor bomb sites being more and more prevalent, cash room and master bedroom, Thermite is very, very powerful on those. So to note, for example, cash room, there's that external wall, and also for master bedroom, there's also an external wall, and being able to Thermite those is very useful. But Mirror is going to be the first defense ban from Outlaws.
Yeah, and we saw some great things this morning in the Brazilian Pro League on Clubhouse, right? Of holding down the tunnel with batteries, deployable shields, and Jaeger devices for the basement defense. So it's definitely something I talked about with the boys back in the day when I was playing competitively. But then of course picks and bans didn't exist in those days, and Thatcher was pretty meta. So it was kind of a bit pointless in that regards. But Maestro, the next one. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see something very similar to hold down that dirt tunnel.
Yeah, well, the first question is I'm curious to see whether it's going to be a site on the downstairs or whether it's going to be up top, because I'm actually thinking, yeah, there you go, Cash Room taken for Taboo. Cash Room seems to be the favorite site these days.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. Like, it really feels easier to defend. Like, no top hatch and anymore, so that's not getting in the way.
Yeah, loading in, though, we are going to be seeing a really nice lineup on the attacking side. A lot of kind of operators that a lot of people don't enjoy playing against, the Glaz Lion, but that's going to be completely revealed. So now it's the 6th pick phase, and Outlaws have the opportunity to mix things up. They are going to bring out the Blackbeard instead of that Lion.
All right, so it looks like there's going to be a rehost for one reason or another, as I'd assume we'd be coming back to look at our beautiful faces at some point. That's unfortunate. I'm not exactly sure why, but it was called fairly quickly by the teams.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I mean, we'll get an admin call on it fairly soon. And yeah, well, I mean, talking about that round, like, we can assume that for the most part, we're going to see the same setup or something for when we do finally get in and rehost that. But I'd like to point out, cash room defense with a castle. Where are you expecting those castle barricades to go?
I don't know. I'd say maybe they're going to try and hold down garage completely. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one on the garage door. Of course, maybe some of the windows and doors over towards the bedroom side of the top floor as well. Maybe even some downstairs. Maybe try and lock out any pressure from the bar.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't mind seeing a lobby castle barracks. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people call this different things, but I call it lobby. There's a little kind of foyer downstairs. Yeah. It links lounge to bar. That tiny room there was a double door that faces towards the motorcycles. I'd like to put a castle barricade there because it does allow you to make rotations between stock and lounge a little bit more safely without worrying too much about anyone shooting you from that angle. And I mean, that angle can be a fairly dangerous one that you can be exposed to, especially since I think that it's fairly important on a cash room defense, at least at a sophisticated level, to have some kind of presence downstairs, because if you don't, then there's no doubt that the attackers are going to come in with a Buck, with an Ash or a Zephyr, and come below the cash room inside of stock, start opening up that roof and disabling all your mirrors and any anchors who are playing inside there.
Yeah, so definitely something you want to have, like that defense down below. Make sure you can deny any pressure from there. Of course, not completely necessary, but you know, especially at the Thatcher, if people are going to be trying to pull off bandit tricks, it's somewhere you need to be because they can deny that easy as you like from below.
That's right. And yeah, and that's the that exterior wall I was talking about. It's kind of like a little platform there
Yeah,
that shows the storage room. Yeah. You can get rid of the batteries that are placed on that wall from inside of lounge if you have that vertical pressure. But yeah, I completely agree. It makes it so important to have a pressure downstairs. Maybe it's even plausible that we'll be seeing, you know, all castle barricades downstairs, one on the garage, one on the lobby or stock, and then the third one being on that storage room window. And then that doubles up as well as an opportunity for the attackers to go for late jump outs by ripping down those castle barricades, or even going for an 11 hit kind of strategy with that.
yeah, for sure. Just making sure everything's correct here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw also a lot of garage presence. Of course, like you pretty much need to hold on to garage to make sure you defend that top floor. But you know, each team has a different interpretation on it. Like some like to hard hold it, some like to hold it and fall back. What are you thinking?
Well, it just reminds me a lot of what we saw from Array this weekend. Array from Aerowolf, formerly known as Envy, formerly known as Cryptic. And what we saw Array do, he was just playing Jaeger, so just playing an operator with a nice gun. He was just sitting up in the garage, and he was proning and finding the tiny little slits in those safety guards along the walkways inside of the upper half of the garage. He was just finding those tiny little slits and just getting really aggressive angles onto the oh my god, I almost said Mantis and Team Yeti, the Element Mystic players who were trying to push into the garage door. And Array just solo held that. He got something like a 4K doing that. So you don't necessarily need some amazing kind of strategy or a utility setup inside of garage. You can even just kind of hold it with someone who's got good aim.
See, I beg to differ, right? Like it's something we saw that Aerowolf do themselves on the flip side, where they would just push a Monty in there. Like, how are you going to counter a Monty if you're not trying to play aggressive up there? Another thing we saw Aerowolf do to counter that play is they were also playing a Frost. Now, something I like to see, like put some Frost mats at the top of those stairs, even behind a deployable shield on the stairs, make them have to vault it, make it difficult for that Monty or whoever's pushing you, maybe a Blitz, to close the distance.
Of course, Legion's another good one as well for countering those shields.
Yeah, because, you know, they have to either, you know, pull it out or just slowly take damage. Normally, when they get hit by the goo, they just start making a beeline for the door to get outside. That being said, right, it's also quite easy to counter the Glaz up above with the Jaeger up above with the Glaz. Just throw a smoke in the doorway and peek him. He's going to have a hard time picking you before you can pick him.
That's very true. And a lot of what we've seen as well in order to take garage, we've seen presence through the main double doors of garage. Those soft walls, people just open that with buck or whatever, really. And reinforcing that has then become a priority for the defenders. And with no thermite on the table, that's going to be a lot more difficult to penetrate for the attackers and a lot more easier to hold on the flip side from the defenders. Something else I just want to touch on briefly, not trying to start a huge discussion, but the way that EG, Evil Geniuses from North America, did hold this is they actually put shields in those windows from cash room, deployable shields.
Yes.
A very, very contested topic because previously it was not allowed to use those deployable shields to block entrances, and now it's allowed, but not in the APAC region. Just going to put that out there. It is not permissible to put those deployable shields in order to block entrances in doorways in APAC. So we're not going to be seeing that today. Just if you're wondering why we're not going to see it, because NVK did it from EG, that's why we're not going to see it. It's not allowed in APAC.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought they did it on border, but yeah, it's definitely a popular shield.
On club as well.
Okay. Yeah, a very popular spot to do on Clubhouse was in in the what's it called stock room, mini stock underneath.
Yeah. Nonetheless, as for other defensive sites, what are you expecting to see next? Like, are you expecting them to go to then bedroom as a secondary, or do you think we're going to see finally that basement come out?
Well, that's what if I recall from Taboo, that's what we saw last week as well. So they defend both top floor bomb sites and then try and go downstairs. But if I remember, it was something like we saw Control stretch out to a 4-0 lead because Taboo lost their cash twice and they went to bedroom and then they went downstairs. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the kind of rotation we saw from them. As for Outlaws, not too sure how they're going to choose to rotate.
Would you say that Outlaws having a lot of VODs of Taboo and how they played last week against Control, that they have the advantage?
Well, yeah, I suppose coming to Clubhouse, like I'm not sure if Outlaws have played Clubhouse much at all, unless you can recall.
I can go back through my my little.
Yeah,
Let's
go
have a
on then.
look.
Do some
SGXC,
research.
SMAF Control, Fnatic Darksided, Clickbait
Yeah,
Xavier,
no,
Taboo,
don't bother. Don't bother. Don't bother.
Outlaws.
Don't bother. So yeah, just an issue with the players net apparently getting a 50% packet loss out of nowhere. Still waiting on him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's real rough. And every time you're playing a match and you get stuck getting packet loss, just people don't like it when your shots don't register. It's not fun. We're not gonna play a pro league match like that. We're gonna sort out all these issues before we jump back into it.
Yeah, so that's a bit unfortunate. So I believe we're just gonna set up for a break, guys, and so when we're ready, we'll head over to that. Yeah, this has been a great start to today, hasn't it?
Hey, it happens, all right. You know, that's really all I can say. It happens. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back soon. Stay tuned for Outlaws versus Taboo.
That is like the greatest injury to ever happen to me, only because it brought siege to me.
I've been doing this for what? Since year one, season one, right? And I failed, and then finally we started succeeding. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back.
Eu recebi sorriso, uma lágrima, uma emoção, riso de umas pessoas que eu nunca vi na minha vida, que eram torcedores da BD.
Acho que você tem que realmente botar toda a sua emoção dentro do jogo.
Welcome back. Didn't think you'd that we'd be back so soon, did you? Now, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm actually really looking forward to that little mini documentary. Said 8 people from the competitive Rainbow Six scene are going to be sharing their experiences. I'm really looking forward to that one. But nonetheless, we're right back. We're getting straight back into the match. Outlaws versus Taboo. Let's take it away and see how this match goes out.
Yeah, definitely. So heading on into this one, same bands have come through, of course, and they're going to have to select the exact same bomb site.
Yep.
Of course, how with the 6 picks working right now, same operator selection, you know, those rules are a bit interesting, don't you reckon? Like, the fact that you get a 6th pick, but you have to choose the same operators.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, if that's the case, then we'll be seeing Tin switch onto the Blackbeard. There you go. So they're just going to do exactly the same thing, straight down to their 6th picks. To me, the operator that really seems a little bit strange to me is the Ella. Not something we see so much. I mean, we had an Ella meta where she was just blatantly overpowered in almost every way, and she was picked every game. But then, you know, her gun was kind of nerfed times, and we didn't see her so much. What do you expect that Taboo are going to be doing with the Ella that really makes you think that they want to bring her for a solid reason?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her playing around in the garage. So, you know, that's put a few up on the garage on the catwalk, right? Let's say you got a Monty pushing up or whatever. And, you know, you got Jaeger proning at the end, and the Monty's like, yeah, I'm just going to walk right up to him and melee him. But he gets hit by the Ella, concussion, mind. He has to unextend his shield. He can just blast away at his feet. Of course, you know, we don't have a Monty here or anything. This is just all, you know,
conjecture. But I mean, it's definitely like a demonstration of what could happen and what might actually happen. Because we have seen Outlaws in the past bring Montaigne, and I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it again. It's actually Taboo, which I very rarely see bring shields. Nonetheless, Strider is going to be bringing one of these castle barricades on that garage door. He's just trying to bait out any drones, and still hasn't found any. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm interested to see how Jam is going to use those Ella concussions. And with no mirror that has been banned, it's also going to make this hold a little bit more difficult for the defenders. But I should hope that the utility is preparing them to hold this nonetheless.
Yeah, here we go. And still some reinforcements going on. Nothing too special, really. We're not even going to see Bandit Trick, of course, You know, they just have to make sure they deny that area below.
Yeah, how do you think this glass is going to work? You mentioned earlier that one of the best ways to enter the garage would be by using this glass and just kind of forcing yourself in there with smoke. You think that's what they're going to do?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised, of course. Well, there's already a hole blown in the garage, or they didn't fully reinforce it. Such we do have Jam. He's pretty much in a one and done position. He gets one kill. If like they don't drone him, they know he's there anyway, and he'd be lucky to survive any longer.
It's a nice little spot. I've actually never really considered that spot since new Clubhouse has come about. But nonetheless, Casper pushing in through the main lobby. This is the door I mentioned earlier. He's now going to have a perfect way to pinch Jam. In fact, a ping could come out and he could go for a wallbang. But no, Jam's actually nicely safe just behind the, well, between a rock and a hard place, I guess you could say, but in a positive way. Oh, great shot, though, from Casper. Cleans him up. Jam's off the board. The Ella not having any real impact. And wow, Casper through the floor, taking down Strider as well. Bundy taking down Striking. That's not looking so great for Taboo, as Outlaws have made an excellent entry onto the site with only 2 players left to find.
Yeah, these old issues we saw last week against controllers surfacing once again. And, you know, it's a 5-on-2 after just half the round gone. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I think there's, yeah, especially now that we've got this wall open, it's just, there's not much that Taboo can do to really prevent this. Unless we see an amazing play from Rippy and Crude, this is likely to go the way of Outlaws.
Yeah, and there we go. We got the breaches on those Zofia. Make sure they can take down all those castles. So you're going to see the enter into the bomb site, and Joker's going to start playing. It's going to be very hard to deny, especially the position these defenders are in. I think this round's over.
Pretty much. Crude's going to try and gas out, and there's a C4 for Rippy, but plan doesn't get denied. A retake in a 2 versus 5 with this much utility for the attackers. There's almost nothing that Rippy and Crude can do. Rippy almost finds one, but no, he runs out of bullets, gets cleaned up by Joker. It's all up to the captain and IGL of Taboo, but he gets taken down by Joker as well. A flawless round for Outlaw.
Yeah, flawless. Not a thing that we saw Taboo could do to deny that. Hello, Taboo. Are you awake yet?
I feel like they're really just not in the lobby. I mean, we saw them filing into the lobby earlier. Maybe that was just you know, a little bit of a visual glitch. Are they even playing?
Yeah, well, a great round from Outlaws to kick it off, but you know, I'm sure Taboo are going to turn up. You know, they're not the kind to just lay down and take a beating. They are definitely going to start coming out and swinging with their own punches. Unfortunately, you know, their own punches have not really led to any deaths on the side of Outlaws just yet. But, you know, we're going to go to Jim bedroom.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good decision. Bringing almost the exact same loadout with the exception of the smoke from Crude switching over to the mute. And, I mean, it seems a bit strange to me after that round. Like, maybe we're going to see a little bit more, you know, impressive players from Taboo here on Clubhouse. But why did they pick Clubhouse? It basically came down to a choice, Clubhouse or Oregon. Are they really that poor on Oregon that they're going to come back to a map where they got completely smashed last week?
See, no, I really say that Oregon is one of their best maps, or at least it was traditionally. It was one of their most practiced maps. You know, they're absolutely insane on it. So, you know, I can't believe they'd want to really avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought, and I think Taboo these days, I think maybe, you know, Bank, Consulate, Border even, and then Oregon maybe. But I know it seems strange to ban out that map in favor of Clubhouse. Nonetheless, we are seeing the typical reinforcements. Even when defending the bedroom site, most teams do reinforce those east walls. And with no thermite, it's going to mean that you're expending a lot of your X-Kairos utility and a lot of a percentage of your hard breach to get rid of that utility and open up that avenue into the map. Now, with this Ella pick, once again, I'd like to see Jam have a little bit more of an impact because it's a bit troubling that he didn't really have any last round. These west walls at the top of the main stairs are also going to be a heavy point of contention. I saw Aerowolf use impact grenades to deny thermite charges, but all that's going to have to be denied in this particular round is going to be Havanas.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, last round we did see Taboo play very static, no one really moving around. But I think they're going to play a bit more mobile on this defense. Make sure, you know, they're spread out all across the top floor. And make sure, you know, when they're peaked, they are just as moving. As we're going to see Crude, he wants to peek out here. He's missed his shots. Yeah.
If he does try and get aggressed anymore, he will get punished likely. It looks like nice setup from Outlaws. I like the way they just set up all their angles and get all the intel and drone everything. It's bodes well for them taking these rounds and punishing the Taboo players just like they did last round.
Yeah, they're definitely being very thorough. Where are the Outlaws deciding to push? Like, it seems like they're still as of yet undecided.
I see most of the players forming up around the west side. It does appear that Joker does want to open that with the Thermite Charge. Strider trading some bullets with Casper. Manages to land one. Casper doesn't deal any damage onto the castle, however.
Yeah, we're going to see this wall opened up from the jacuzzi area. And give a sight line into the rotate, or one of the rotates between sites.
Is that Hibana open properly? I think it is. So that does look like a solid avenue. And you can cut off a lot of rotations from this position as well. I do expect we'll see probably the Glaz force his way in there. And no C4 on Crude. He doesn't really have any opportunity to have an impact on the round from downstairs.
Was that a misplay? Did he think he brought C4, or is that...
He does. He's just already used his C4.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know, it seems a bit strange to me. Nonetheless, Jam also attempting to be in a position to go for a late flank. He's going to shoot out. No, that's actually striking all the way inside of Cash. He's going to take down Casper outside, but Bundy refrags onto Jam. Striking's been completely droned out. He's going to go downstairs, maybe even team up with Crude again, but only 2 players from Taboo are on site.
Yeah, well, there's 40 seconds on the clock. This is definitely looking a much better round here from Taboo so far as the drones come on out, forcing Strider to reposition. It seemed like he hit it, but he just missed it, unfortunately.
It's still not looking so great for Taboo. However, I think that potentially, yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite difficult for Joker to actually push in through those holes. Just unfortunate placement of the Hibana pellets, but pushing in through Logistic. Bundy takes down Muesli. Bundy also taken down. 12 seconds to go on with Rippy and Crude on the main stairs. This isn't likely to go well. Strider inside of the bedroom as well. It's all up to Tins and Joker. That's Joker's going to take one down, but he gets refragged by Crude. Rippy as well, getting one onto Tins.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting round there by Outlaws. They did look very lost, and it seems like they faffed about a lot, doing nothing. And yeah, as you can see, those Hibana pellets don't really allow an avenue, so that was another part of their attack. So that Thermite ban coming through pretty big there.
I definitely agree, and unfortunate for Joker. He was the only player to really make an impact in terms of the frags in that round, but the primary purpose of bringing a Hibana is to use utility, and his utility failed his team.
Do you think maybe a simple change to Hibana would be to like allow her to shoot 1, 2, or 3 all at the same time, and like the 3 would like stack up properly in a line, maybe? Or
I mean, that would help a lot. That would be a buff in terms of not only preventing those kind of bugs or unfortunate mishaps from happening, but it would also mean that it's much quicker. I personally don't think it's necessary. I think that it would just be nice to be able to be a bit more reliable with knowing how much is going to be opened up. I mean, I'd say it's like 90% of the time. It's 99% of the time. It's really reliable if you get them exactly right. But I think a lot of people, especially experienced players, don't spend the extra second to align their shot. They just think, I know how to Hibana stuff. I'm just going to shoot it. It's actually sometimes a little bit more temperamental than you'd expect, and it does require that extra second of making sure you are being precise.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like, and also, I really feel like you have to shoot them closer than what you'd think.
Yeah.
And like, you almost feel like they're going to overlap, but they don't, and that's how to make sure that busts open every time. We are going back to Cash Room, a very similar operator lineup. We've got Crude on the Echo this time, and you know, they're really not using all their reinforcements on Garage. That's so interesting for me.
They did last time. I'm not quite sure
I know they
why
did.
they're not.
It was busted open with a Zofia.
Oh, that does seem quite strange then. Well, I guess in new Clubhouse, there's a lot more you have to reinforce on a cache site. No, I like this.
Oh, they've opened it with Impact, in fact.
Interesting. Maybe Jam wants to use it as a rotation point, but that seems very, very risky.
Yeah, it seems like he wants to play very aggressive out of it, but this castle barricade is not going to last long as we hear the first melee going off on it.
Yeah, see,
and in fact, it's just going to rust down.
Yeah, the Glaz countering that castle is what's really making the difference. Bundy's going to drone out Jam, knows exactly where he is. Jam, if he gets even 1 kill, that's admirable. But he's got Rippy to back him up, though. So if he just stays put, he could potentially do something. He's getting peeked on from lobby by Casper, and now Bundy with a grenade. But no, he fluffs the grenade. Jam doesn't even take a single point of damage. Oh, no.
Has he fluffed his second one too? Bundy.
You just can't let that happen at this level of play, and Jam's still allowed to stay in this position. He can get peeked from land, which is what Casper's trying to do, but no ACOG's going to make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. But if I remember correctly, Casper's running a hollow as striking. He's going to find the shot on the tins as we have another one pushing in from that exact same door.
Striking's going to get a second one as well. Great job with this T5. Strider's finding one as well. Is this going to be a flawless round in the reverse? Taboo really stepping up their roam game, just completely countering Outlaws' methodical style of push.
Yeah, definitely. As we're going to see the peaks from Strikers, he's going to go for the wall bang. Seems like he's landed a bit of damage, but 5-on-2, Muesli and Joker with a lot to do.
Muesli's just going to go for a bit of a rotate. Ideally, in this kind of scenario, you'd have both of your teammates regroup. But if Muesli tries to force himself through this hole, he is no doubt going to get caught in the crossfire. The Elamine's going to go off. Muesli is concussed, and Jam knows there's a player right there. Scorpion at this range is going to win that fight, and the OTS of Glaz falls apart. Joker now the last man standing, a 1 versus 5. Rippy contesting onto him, not looking great here. He does find one, however. There's a lot more to go.
Yeah, definitely. With that Echo drone calling out his position, 50 seconds on the clock, it's going to be very difficult. Of course, Jam is lit, but I don't think it's going to matter too much in the end, as he does have so many people to find, and Striking will be the one to do that.
Nice little bait there, using the Echo drone to confuse Joker, and then just a peek from Striking as well, holding that angle. And well, a flawless round, or nearly flawless, I guess you could say. Rippy did get taken down, but a near flawless round for Taboo, replying with Outlaws' initial round where they did so well on that bomb site.
So what was the difference between those two rounds then?
It was the roam game for me. I mean, you saw how much Jam was almost just a bait inside of the garage there. You know, all of the players from Outlaws tried to encircle around him and take him down. And due to those two fluffed up nades, it was just so easy for the roamers to catch any of the Outlaws players who were pushing in, particularly Striking and Strider really did the work entering into that round.
Wouldn't you say though that, like, you know, that if they killed that Jam on that Ella with those nades properly, they wouldn't have lost so many players on their own game, especially just trying to push in through that foyer door?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if he had been, it's hard to say really. I mean, if they had taken him down, maybe they would have thought like, oh, okay, we're all good, let's just move in. But nonetheless, we actually saw a sick pick there from Crude, getting rid of the Vigil and instead bringing the Pulse, something that Crude is typically known for, bringing those very intel-based operators, because he just is a very communicative player. So Valkyrie being, you know, Crude's typical main, but he also does a little work on the Pulse. Now, the Vigil being the initial pick means that the attackers might be wary of droning more thoroughly, and maybe even doing a bit more face checking. But I think once they realize that there is a pulse on the board, they probably won't be looking for that Vigil.
Yeah, this pulse can definitely do a bit of damage from below with that C4 and the heartbeat sensor, of course. Yeah, it's going to be droned out, so I think they are aware of the possibility of him being there. What's Strider doing all the way up top as Echo?
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Surely this is going to be a spawn pick. You'd think that anyone who plays an ACOG operator and is upstairs in the late round of the prep phase is going to be doing that. But no, Strider, I don't know what he was doing. He's just going to go back down to site. Maybe he was just baiting out, making...
Yeah, the Jackal.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Wow, clever stuff.
Yeah, just go for some tracks with one of your anchors. He doesn't have to set anything up on site. You know, make sure they see a lot around, and they'll scan him out and they'll be like, oh, he's back at site, never mind. But it's made them waste one of those. They're going to diligently check up top, perhaps.
Yep, and as we can see, a nice little pinch onto the roamers. Wow, Strider, if he had lost his Echo Drone there, that would have...
Well, remember, he does have two, of course, so he does have an extra one in his back pocket if required. But yeah, this has been quite slow by Outlaws. Definitely that, that little scenic tour with the Echoes made them very worried about this top floor.
Well, it does waste a lot of time. I mean, once they finish droning this all out, they're going to think, okay, we're all good. And there you go. It's the Jaeger who's going to be spotted out now. It's Jam inside of Arsenal, playing at a position I like to call Green Box, or Schmed Box if you like. Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
Schmed. Good old Schmed.
One thing I wish to point out, though, is that, we've spoken about how, it's so viable to roam on Clubhouse on this downstairs bomb site right now. We're seeing none of it here from Taboo.
No, but they have wasted a lot of time. Like, imagine if they had played a two-man roam upstairs, done no damage to the attackers, just wasted time, and all defaulted downstairs by a minute 20 remaining on the clock. That would be exactly equivalent to what they have done. because it's now a minute 20 on the clock, and Outlaws still haven't made any real progress onto site. They've spent this entire time worrying about those Jackal tracks and roam clearing, and now Striking, potentially able to completely deny the Hibanas. He does fantastic work from the smoke, and that is what one Hibana charge completely denied. And now Joker's going to have to reapply that in order to have any hope of going through the kitchen hatch.
Yeah, it's a great stall out there. But, you know, there still are more angles to push, especially with this blue tunnel here. We're going to see the calls come out and the push, but there's the smoke grenade to deny everything, and some damage done down through the wall. Casper's going to send his own back in reply, but nothing landing. We're going to see Crude on the heartbeat sensor, find out where Muesli is, but can't land the damage.
Muesli as well worried about this electrical wall really just harassing him at the moment. With only 25 seconds to go, there's not much Outlaws can do. So many players stacked up inside of the bomb site. All of Outlaws coming from both Moto and Blue. Crude finds one onto Muesli. Jam holding, takes down Casper. Another one pushing into Armory. Dockerby gets taken down. Striking, finishing him off. Bundy finds the first frag for his team. And Bundy again with a second, but he gets taken down by Striking. A great hold from Taboo.
Yeah, very good stuff there from the boys that go choo-choo.
Choo-choo, Taboo.
So yeah, Taboo looks like they have woken up after that very first round. Like we were like, wow, what happened to Taboo? Where are they? But yeah, they've put on 3 in a row.
Maybe they were still loading. You know, who knows? And yeah, I mean, Outlaws, to me, it was really just a problem of taking too long on that roam clear, and it's ironic because there was no roamers, but you know, it was just well played from Taboo, and Outlaws just unfortunately being a little bit too slow on that take, and then eventually, you know, denying the kitchen hatch Hibanas from Striking meant that Outlaws didn't have the option of taking through the lobby, through the kitchen hatch. So let me go through their options. All right, you can't go kitchen hatch. You can't go dirt because you don't bring a thermite because he's banned. What options do you have? Blue, Moto, and main stairs. And they went Blue and Moto, and they had 30 seconds by the time I started doing that, and it's just not enough.
See, the thing is, right, is they could have definitely taken like a pinch onto Church, right? One from like pushing from Moto and then also pushing from Blue, because Blue wasn't even fully reinforced at all.
I agree.
They didn't even have rotate holes there. Like, they had the Zofia. They could have opened up angles. You know, she was bringing breaching charges. I'm sure she still was. And like a pinch and a push into that bomb site in a 5-on-2, because that's how many players were on that bomb site, could have warranted them that bomb site and then the plant.
And that's why the problem was just not having enough time. And I mean, Taboo had set up well with the bandit inside of Church, ready to bandit trick that Church wall. If Outlaws had the foresight to attempt to open up that wall with the Hibana, they would have had to worry about bandit trick. So it's just kind of most of the bases were covered by Taboo, and unless if Outlaws had a lot more time and had a lot clearer strategy in order to counter that specific hold, then, I mean, it just wasn't looking good from them from the start, and really wasting all that time didn't work out well. But nonetheless, we're here on Bedroom. Taboo won it last time. It was the first round they won. Let's see if they can do the same.
That's a bit late there from Strider, but not punished at all. He's going to put up that castle barricade. His GM's just going to make sure his fire button's working. Shoot into that wall.
Bundy early control alongside Tins pushing into the bar now. Pool even, and now a nice little pinch. He's going to potentially find Crude. Great job. Bundy takes down Crude.
That smoke, which has been such a thorn in their side so far. And that's what happens when you're late setting up for things still. You can't still be making shotgun holes 40 seconds into the round.
I think he was actually trying to aggress onto that window, so it was really a nice pinch from Casper on the window to try and bait out that push, and then Bundy just being ready from below. But now that Smoke's off the board, that utility's gone, but Crude is still able to make calls, which is really what Crude is known for. So it's not the end of the world for the IGL of Taboo.
Yeah, and look, they're going to try and open up this angle again. Of course, there are the batteries there this time, and it looks like Bundy was having trouble shooting through the floor as Rippy's going to aggress and find Tins for free.
Bundy's trying to hold the angle now, but looks like Rippy's fairly comfortable and just going to head upstairs now, especially with the castle barricade on the north window protecting him. No pressure means that Rippy's really just allowed to rotate for free.
Yeah, and that was the line that's off the board as well. No E1Ds come out now at all. So that's going to mean the defenders are going to feel a lot more cozy in their defense.
And once again, Outlaws just not really sure how they want to make this work. Striking, he's just roaming, he's running around with a T5, he takes down Casper. Casper, who's had such a good first round, has yet to really had an impact on the game. Rippy, what a shot, that was a long one. Bundy with the AUG, it's taken down.
Yeah, look at these Habana holes. Looks like they were denied, of course, by any of the bandit charges. But 4-on-2 right now, Muesli and Joker. This feels familiar. Very difficult position for them to be in.
Rippy is very lit though. One bullet will finish him off, but it's just the pure numbers at the moment are just so heavily in favor of Taboo. And the fact that Outlaws just don't have any solid avenues. They can let Muesli sit here and hold off rotates, but he's not going to be able to push into sight. And when you have so few players on the board and so little time, you can't spend all of that time just holding off these angles.
Yeah, they really do need to go balls to the wall. As we're going to see flashbangs in, and all Joker's flashed himself, and he's just going to get shot there by Striking, all up to Muesli now. Casper's going to find Striking with a Claymore, however, as it looks like Muesli is going to drop in under cover of smoke. But he's there for the double peak. Rippy is, as Muesli found Jam through the smoke.
And thus ends the first half here. Taboo on their defense, winning 4 out of 5, especially a good effort after that first round being a flawless round against them. Now we're going to have to see how Outlaws are going to work out. I'm curious now, Monkey, with such a heavily slanted half towards Taboo, do you think this is a defender-sided ban phase? Or do you think this is just Taboo showing up better?
I don't know. I really feel like it's just Taboo showing up as what we expect them to be honest. Like the first round was a bit of a write-off, but they've definitely started playing at the level we kind of expect from them, right? Like, would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, I was going to reinforce that by just briefly glossing over the operator ban. So like Thermite and Thatcher, yeah, great utility on the attack, but you can make Clubhouse work without them. Whereas Mira and Maestro, they're very, very useful, especially for holding those top floor, especially Cash. So good with a Mira. And not having that, that you'd think that this would be fairly even. Like we've got really good operators banned for both attack and defense. I don't feel like that should slant towards the defender's favor at all. So Taboo having such a strong lead, I think it's got to be just a reflection of maybe they've learned something from last week.
Yeah, well, we did see last week, Control on attack, Thermite Thatcher banned, absolutely get out to an amazing lead against this Taboo squad and win the map. So, you know, it's definitely, I don't think it's up to do with the operator bans. I think it's more of how they're playing.
Tin's unfortunately not yet to find a frag, but Striking really stepping it up for his team. Previously, Striking did play, quite a supportive role, particularly on that smoke. But in my experience, I noticed him get punished a lot for taking risks and playing such integral operators as Smoke and Thermite. It really didn't help out his team when he would get taken out. But now he's playing operators that are allowed to be a little bit more aggressive. This Roaming Legion in particular that he's been playing. And now he's running onto, I believe he's playing the IQ. It's a bit confusing with Striking and Strider having the first 3 letters to their name, but
I think it's Glass actually.
Really?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, I just think that, Striking being allowed to be a bit more aggressive, it actually seems to be working out for his team. So I'm actually really happy for Taboo to see that change working out in their favor.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to see a very similar setup here from Outlaws. Going to try and defend the garage, but it looks like they don't really want to play anyone inside, or at least no one below the stairs. Just Joker sitting up with those very tight angles that you spoke about in the pregame.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of an array at the moment. Not sure whether he'll be able to get a 4K like the Indonesian player could, but no, Jam just droning it out. Jam looks to be fairly comfortable, and with those concussion mines, he could potentially concuss Joker and make it a little bit easier for him to aggress, but he's the first one to draw blood.
Yeah, well, Rippy's going to be the first one. In fact, as Casper's gone down. He's found the mute. Yeah. Sorry?
Ooh. I was going to say that's control of stock taken over the attackers, but Tins on the flank could potentially punish these 2 players from Taboo if they're not careful. Tins with some pre-fire takes down Jam. Can he get a second one? Potentially no. Rippy on the Dockerby takes him down. Crude with that drone. If he was only a second earlier, perhaps Jam would not have got punished.
They had no idea he was there. He was going to see this floor taken out, the batteries taken out, went by the IQ. Something Muesli's decided, you can't take down my batteries without me wanting to get aggressive on you. He's going to wait for he's going to
the bandit trick.
bandit these, yeah.
Oh no. Muesli's banding the wrong one though, but he's got plenty of time to get the second charge off. That's a bit of negligence on the side of Taboo. They really have to be opening up that floor in order to deny Muesli, or even just opening up both sides of the wall would have helped out. Joker is now going to start the work for his team, taking down Rippy 3 versus 3, and with no Hibana available to them, this is not looking as good for Taboo as it was earlier.
Yeah, a bit of interesting decisions there. Of course, Buck is just probably 10 times better than IQ in that position. So we're going to hear some shots come out onto Joker. He's gone low, but he's just playing cat and mouse. He's going to find the double! Headshot. See you later, and it's all up to Strider on the glass. He's going to jump on in. He's seen the banana of the Echo. 2-on-1 now, but 30 seconds to go. He knows the castle was nearby.
Yeah, and he's getting peeked from 2 angles. Muesli from the top of the cache stairs is going to clean him up. A great round from Outlaws, really well salvaged after an early deficit, bringing it back.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting start there. And Outlaws did do very well to steady that rocking boat. But I don't know, it really seems like Taboo just tripped over their own feet, to be honest. Like, they looked poised to take that round.
It was honestly just the single thing that, in my opinion, lost Taboo that round was the bandit trick from, I believe it was Muesli. I mean, that was the one play that won the round. And then after that, it was 2 people just running mindlessly into garage, not even thinking to clear the top. And there was a player up there just ready to clean 2 up. That was Joker. He was ready to receive, and 2 sprinting players, he was just holding down the trigger, 2 easy headshots.
Yeah, and you were right, by the way. It is striking on the IQ, not Strider. My bad.
I think Strider is typically playing the operators that are, I'm not going to say like typically frag-oriented, but just when it comes to raw aim, Strider just really seems to have made leaps and bounds onto, you know, his history. He's really an amazing Blackbeard player, and he's also taken up the mantle of Glaz. So that's why I thought that Strider was on the Glaz, and I don't know, he's doing all right, but didn't really have an impact on the last round. Only managed to find 1 kill, and it was only after all his teammates had died.
Yeah, like, and it did really seem strange that they decided to push in a garage. Like, to be honest, I would have said let's just walk up cash room stairs instead.
Yeah.
Like, try and get in behind him.
I would agree, and yeah, that call was not a good one, that last call, once the Hibana charges had failed. Nonetheless, Outlaws, instead of going to gym and bedroom as Taboo did for their secondary bomb site, they're going to be heading much downstairs, a much more typical and old school bomb site.
Yeah, something you do see a lot more on the regular. As we do have the roaming smoke for now. He's heard a drone nearby, as I did too. But I don't think he's going to be able to find it, as he's going to open up some angles to outside. What's the plan there? Just make.
Not quite sure what that is actually. Maybe just making the, I guess if you made a full rotate, then it would be an option to go for, honestly, I just think it's just, you know, to be a bit cheeky and maybe make Taboo a little bit wary, but Outlaws do have a slight roam so far. And with no Jackal from Taboo, they'll have to be very thorough in order to roam clear.
Yeah, very interesting that they've gone for the IQ again, but no Buck. There's so much damage through the floor in the kitchen and also in the hallways. It's pretty strange.
That's true, but I mean, without control of dirt, I do find that kitchen takes are just nowhere near as successful. So I think that it's not quite as useful. And maybe just that IQ being taken to counter operators such as the Echo, such as the Legion, which can really be devastating to honorary attackers.
Yeah, so what kind of push are you expecting to see? One from Blue and one from Church?
I wouldn't be too surprised to see that. That's what kind of is available to you with no thermite on the board. It means that you can't open dirt tunnel unless if you sacrifice one of the hatches and only have the single prone hole into dirt tunnel, but that's very risky to do and very hard to get that Hibana pellet just right. Crude is going to be playing the Hibana, opening up 3 hatches, no doubt. I believe that it's just the kitchen one is the last one. And Striking going to pre-throw this nade. Potentially, he's aware that there might be someone on the other side. However, there could be an ADS to protect Casper. There isn't, but nonetheless, just unfortunate cooking of that grenade is going to make Casper stay alive just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I do really like that where they prep the nade. You know, if Rippy had popped this EE1D just as that nade was getting cooked and, you know, the hatch getting thrown open, like just that tighter coordination there could have really, you know, led to an easy frag.
I definitely agree. And now look, pushing down, looking through the kitchen hatch. The attacker's not so likely to find anything as Tins here. If they don't drone him out, they're going to get verily punished.
Attackers
Yes,
dropped
you reckon we are going to see a kitchen hatch drop? Because that looks like what they're setting up for.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned at the moment. If Taboo don't drone out Tins here, then they deserve to be completely punished by him. Jam's drone did drone out Joker, but not Tins. How can you allow this to happen? Tins is just going to wait until he sees Strider's feet and then take him down.
Yeah, as I said, if you had a buck, this probably would not be happening, as Tins would be having the pressure put on him.
If you
all
had
the
a
way
drone,
from
this
above.
wouldn't be happening. I mean, and
That's
now
true.
you go,
Ooh.
Smoke getting taken down by the Jaeger. Both smokes. No, I think, okay, one manages to go down. Tins is only partially flashed, and he's just going to take down Strider. Is he going to get a second one? This is just unacceptable from Taboo. Finally, they do take him down, putting it into a 3 versus 3. 10 seconds to go. This Echo drone could win the round if he knows where the plant's going down.
Yeah,
Oh,
they've definitely
no.
denied it already. It's up to Rippy. He's going to find one. Oh, no, yes, he's down one, but it's there for the immediate trade by Joker. Well, I thought he did find the Legion, but I was incorrect.
That was just, I mean, that was a well played from Outlaws, but it was just terrible from Taboo.
Yeah, it was very uncoordinated. As I said, even just a buck, if that's what you want to do, just
You don't
even just a
even
drone.
need,
But even
be
if you
great,
did
yeah,
drone
but
him,
even
it's
if-
harder to clear him out without a buck.
Yeah, oh, I definitely agree. But yeah, oh, just you have Zephyr charges you could have used to open up some of the floor. Even potentially, you could use concussions in order to drop. You want to do a quick drop. It only took Taboo 2 players dropping down the hatch in order to take down Tins, and that was after they didn't know he was there. Imagine if they droned him out, knew he was there, and used concussion mines to assist in clearing him out. They could take him out maybe without even losing a man.
Yeah, pretty poorly played by Taboo overall, but now they're going to be attacking the gym bedroom, and we're seeing a Frost.
I like it. It's not 6th pick onto though, so it's likely to be 6th
Oh,
pick
it's 6th
off
pick
of,
off.
and
Yep.
yeah, there you go. I mean, Frost, I don't think we almost ever see it unless if it's been 6th picked onto or 6th pick off of. Ooh,
I don't
is he
see.
changing
I
again?
wouldn't say like it's fine to just leave it, just reveal it. Like it's all about the mind games. They'd be like, oh, they've revealed the Frost. They're going to take it off for sure. Don't worry, boys. But like not to be like sometimes. So
As many bombs as they can.
it's all very viable as to whether you keep it or you don't.
So, I mean, if we come in here and Outlaws win this round, evening it up, it's going to have to be a breakaway or a tie for either of these teams.
Yeah.
Outlaws haven't yet lost a defensive round. Taboo lost their first defense and then proceeded to win the rest of the half, but Outlaws looking strong on their defense. And more specifically, Taboo just really not stepping up on their attacks. The coordination just a little bit off here and there.
The thing
do you
I'd
think
like
of
to say about their attacks is it's from Taboo is it's very uncoordinated. Like we see, the kind of moves and like holes in their pushes getting easily exploited, hit there by Outlaws. Is that just due to inexperience on this map, or inexperience as a full squad, or what do you think?
I mean, typically I would say that's the kind of thing that I would say an experience as a squad rather than experience as a map, because the experience on a map is that is reflected in your overall strategies, in your specific map knowledge, so things like cheeky angles and vertical play. But these things that Taboo are doing wrong, it's in coordination, that's just experience as a roster. And you would have thought that Taboo, they've been with this roster for the whole season now. They haven't changed it up. Unlike Outlaws has made some minor changes. You would have thought that Taboo would really be a little bit more familiar by now with each other as a squad.
Yeah, looks like Bundy's the only one roaming over on the east-hand side of the top floor. He's going to see the drone, and it looks like he's getting encroached upon as he's just going to fall back and put out some more leashes. We've got the Zofia waiting for him to walk into his crosshairs.
Yeah, and they have droned out Bundy, however, so it means that Taboo are going to be able to pinch him, and especially if Jam starts using his concussion mines. However, potentially Bundy is going to have a rotate out via logistics, which could potentially be made by either himself or Casper. So, I mean, Taboo have to have a strong way to push onto him, otherwise he's going to easily get at least one kill.
Yeah, there's definitely 3 angles he needs to be worried about, as he is going to make his way across successfully, just as the Zofia's not holding the angle at all. And
Where was
ooh,
that? How's that Zephyr charge detonate when it didn't hit him? That's strange. So Jam now thinks he's there, but now that charge not going off is going to make Jam think he's not there. So Taboo have got to be very confused right now. And without a second drone, Bundy is going to be in a very strong position. However, striking with the DMR takes down Casper, the smoke off the table. That's a lot of utility gone so early.
Yeah, this bomb site here is pretty much completely clear. As we're going to see the jump in from striking, and he's just missed the wall bang. Looks like Tins is going to take a bit of damage, but Striker's going to find Joker as we're seeing the floor bangs coming on out, and the attempted wall bang onto the Blackbeard not landing.
Oh my god, it is striking, not Strider. I'm so confused right now. Jan takes down Bundy. Only 2 players left. Tins with the pistol cleans up striking. Blackbeard is down, but there's 4 more players for Taboo, and pre-fires through the bed is going to net Jam a lot of damage. Actually, not that much damage, but Muesli is going to find Strider. That's the Glaz down. Rippy finally takes down Tins. It's all up to Muesli in a 1 versus 3. No time, and a lion charge. Rippy finds his head.
Yeah, looks like he tried to turn around and run around the corner, but he was stuck on the door frame, and, you know, that led to his demise.
Oh, that was
a beautiful shot.
It was a beautiful shot. It was a bit unfortunate. I would have thought if I was Muesli that I was around that corner, but no. Great job from Rippy. Really just nailed it.
It was definitely a pre-fire as you heard the castle barricade getting brought down. But yeah, so either it's Taboo going to take the W here, or we're going to a draw now. They're the ones who found 5 first, so, you know, they can feel a bit safer in themselves.
This is something I recall, I believe it was Emzo talking about the other day, actually casting a Clubhouse match. I believe it was one of the North American matches. He was talking about in this position, you know, it really, I mean, you always want to be that first team to get to 5, because that means that you're guaranteeing at least a draw. Whereas Outlaws now, they've had some really good rounds, but if you look at the scoreboard, 5-3, that looks pretty well slanted in order to Taboo. So Outlaws really have quite a ways to climb back in order to bring this to, at most a draw. That's all they can do.
Yeah, of course. Like, you don't want to be fighting from behind and knowing that all you can guarantee is a draw. Like, you want to be out in front and, you know, say if we play badly, the worst we can do is draw.
That's right. Now, I think from Taboo's perspective, if they don't manage to... Well, okay, let's have a look at the round. So we've had a cash defense and an armory defense from Outlaws. And they won both of those. Now, they have the ability to go to cash, as you can see, and then armory later. And if it follows the pattern, they're going to win both of those, bringing us to a draw. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think that Taboo are going to make the adaptations and run with the momentum that they built up last round?
Well, I don't know. Like, you know, just having a sample size of just 1 round doesn't really feel
fair enough.
Good enough. So, yeah, like, I don't know. I think Taboo are going to attack this a lot better. They're not going to get caught out by that bandit trick that we saw in the first round of the defense up here. So, you know, they don't... Yeah, they're definitely not going to get caught out by that. It's going to make sure they have more crossfires onto the site, and, you know, that should allow them to be more successful.
Yeah, but that said, they're still bringing the IQ. I do like the idea of the IQ, being able to take out a lot of this utility through the floor, especially the ADSs. So something a lot of people don't really value. But if you're going to be using an operator like Glaz, where you need those smokes to go down, being able to counter those ADSs from a safe position through the floor is a great move. However, Casper has opened up angles of his own through the floor, and Joker roaming downstairs is going to put pressure onto that as well. Finally, these castle barricades are going to be used to help out the defenders roaming downstairs, because Outlaws know that's such an important area of contention in order to take this bomb site. And it's where Taboo are going to be aggressing onto in order to counter those that bandit trick that worked so well against them last round.
Yeah, there's also so many counters out there for the castle. We've got the Zofia, we've got the Glaz. You know, yeah, we can see that IQ used those frag grenades, of course. So we're going to see that Glaz peak, as I said before, but he's going to miss way too many shots, as Joker is going to find that IQ. We're going to see Glaz finally land the shot there, and that's garage control taken.
Yeah, and lounge control as well, which is just as important in my opinion. Crude wants to open up this wall now with his Hibana charges. He's checking that the batteries are on. In fact, both of those walls with no IQ now, they're going to have to actually open the wall. This is a much safer and more effective way of opening these opening the floor, because you can also counter the bandit trick. That means that Crude is going to successfully get this open. Strider also finds a kill onto Joker, and this is looking to take shape for Taboo.
Yeah, they've been a lot more successful, even if it was a bit difficult at the start with their Glaz. They are in now the man advantage 4-on-3.
And they have a lot of time to work with as well. It's not a significant man advantage, and Bundy does still have this Echo Drone he's going to use to gather a lot of information.
Yeah, we're going to see the line come on out. Casper, he's going to
Wow.
Yeah, being a world of hurt. See you later, son. This Bundy's going to
Crude
try and
pushing in.
regress on it. Oh, Crude, he's doing a lot of work here. It's all up to Tins in the 1-on-4.
Bundy does have intel from his Echo drone. He's going to be pinging out a lot of the players inside of both Garage and at the top of the cache stairs. But Tins has to retake through this one door.
And Jam's going to find him. GG.
It was a great game from these two teams, Taboo and Outlaws. I really thought that for a long time, Outlaws were looking like not necessarily the superior team, but a much more prevalent team. But no, Taboo are going to take the win 6-3. As we can see, Striking's beautiful IQ dance.
Yeah, with the music as well. You know, I've never heard that music. Is it because I have like music turned off in game? I'd guess it would be.
Maybe.
Like, yeah.
Striking and Joker both topping 11 kills. That's pretty impressive for them. And even Crude, the lowly IGL and captain, is going to be managing to get just a couple of kills as well. And especially in that last round, great job from Crude aggressing in with that bearing 9.
Yeah, so onto the next map, which is Border, I believe. Let me double check that one. Yes.
Yep, it is Border for the next map.
Yeah, awesome. So, just a quick short break in between these two maps. What are we thinking on Border? More of the same, or is Taboo going to look better, or is Outlaws going to look better, or?
Hard to say. I think that Taboo are better on Border as a map. I think that Outlaws were, like previously, you know, not knowing what had just happened, I would have thought that Outlaws would have been better on Clubhouse, especially with how Taboo fared last week. But I don't know. I mean, Taboo are just looking better overall. I think that this is going to be a Taboo map on Border as well.
Yeah, so looking forward, of course, into this one. What are we expecting for operator bans then?
I mean, the Thermite could come out, but honestly, I don't think Thermite's as much of a big deal. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Thatcher ban from Outlaws, if I recall correctly. That's something that they've been toying with in the past, and they did ban it as well on Clubhouse, so it does make quite a bit of sense. As for the defense, historically, Taboo have banned a lot of Vigil, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see Maestro getting eliminated. I believe Outlaws are fairly comfortable with Maestro, and there's a lot of opportunity to get you know, that heavy anchor utility to be of use in Border. That said, I think that something that I'd like to see toyed with is an Echo ban, because both these teams, but especially Taboo, do seem to really favor that utility, and I wouldn't mind seeing that off the board. On top of that, IQ's been really prevalent. Why don't we see an IQ ban?
Yeah, well, you know, IQ can also be great to take down any outside Valkyrie cameras, so, you know, that may be why they want to ban it. If they want to have Valkyrie cameras outside, make sure they can get very aggressive. And of course, you know, it just stops them denying all that utility from below.
Yeah, and you know who loves Valkyrie in this match? Good old Crude.
Yeah,
old mate.
Crude. Oh, he's been a thorn in, you know, when I played competitively, I was like, oh, this guy on this Valkyrie. Like, he's such a good player on Valkyrie. And
Yeah.
you know, we didn't really see much of it on Clubhouse, did we?
No, I don't think we even saw it once. The one time he did decide to go for that information-based operator was a Pulse instead, which kind of makes sense. And especially since we've seen IQ being so prevalent from both of these teams, I'm not too surprised that he hasn't brought out the Valkyrie. Something also, I mean, I know Crude pretty well, and something he's been telling me is he likes to toy with people by not playing the Valkyrie, just as a way to, you know, confuse people. People are expecting, oh, he's amazing on Valkyrie, so, you know, that he's going to play Valkyrie a lot, and then he just doesn't play it and kind of brings out something a little bit different. Actually, come to think of it, a lot of notorious players have been Valkyrie mains. I'm thinking old Wildman from the old Corvidae roster, formerly known for a time as the best player in ANZ, and then, you know, one of the best players in the world, Nesk from the team Liquid. He's also been a notorious Valkyrie main as well.
Yep. Well, just a few delays as teams are a bit confused as to what sides they're starting on in this one.
According to my notes, it's Outlaws starting on defense.
Yeah, well, both teams seem convinced it's meant to be Taboo, but
well, someone's been lied to.
Yeah. So unsure as to what's going on with that. As that's what's causing us delaying heading into Border. Well, I don't know. What else can we talk about? What are you thinking?
I don't know. What do you think that is the best operator ban, particularly for Outlaws? I'm interested to see what they're going to bring about.
You know, especially on Border, I think a Blackbeard ban is pretty good. That Thermite ban can can also play quite a bit of havoc. So, you know, that could be what we're seeing.
Yeah, well, we've seen, I believe it's Tins being the Blackbeard player for Outlaws. But on the flip side, we've got not only one, but two very good Blackbeard players on Taboo in Striking and Strider, the two STRs. And I think banning that might, you know, help out Outlaws a little bit. We actually currently have teams mixing. It looks like they're mixing up a little bit. Crude looks to play on Outlaws, but, you know, hopefully that doesn't go ahead. I don't think it'll work out so well for him.
Yeah. All right, so looks like that issue's been sorted out. We'll be heading into it in just a quick moment.
Yep, and so I'm interested to know what your opinion is. I don't know if you've seen before. I guess I'll just ask you: have you seen before Outlaws' downstairs in the events and workshop? Do you remember that castle barricade and mirror hold?
You know, it does ring a bell, but
yeah. Well, I'm just interested to see how they've improved upon it since their last iterations, because it was a really nice concept, but it just had some glaring holes. The main one being, you know, if the attackers bring a sledge or even just Ash or Zafia, it's fairly easy to just kind of counter the castle barricades in the main positions and pushing through the site, especially since that hold tends to be very, very spread out. So I'm interested to see mainly how Outlaws have improved upon this strategy from time to time, because I'm particularly interested to see that. And I love to see those improvements mid-game.
yeah, definitely. So we're heading on into this one now. We're going to see that ban phase, as I said. Maybe Blackbeard, he can be such a pain in the behind on border.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Outlaws get rid of it. Let's have a look in just a second. It is gonna be Thermite. Interesting. Taboo were the one who banned Thermite on the last map, but Outlaws bringing it out this time.
We're going to see Thatcher banned again, maybe?
You reckon? I don't think so. I mean, that's too much in favor of the defenders, in my opinion. Being able to unmute and ban a trick and not worry about that. Wow, it's actually Taboo banning the Blackbeard. I would have thought that it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, well, you know, as I said, like Thermite ban would be very strong. Make sure they can't open that armory wall, and then of course the Blackbeard ban because he's just such a pain. As for defenders, I'd say we're going to see Mirror banned up first.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's like so many rounds. Everyone who's playing attack just loves banning Mirror.
And then of course the final defense ban. I'm thinking Legion or Smoke.
I'm just surprised to get rid of a bandit. Jaeger. Oh, that's
Yeah,
toying with fate a little bit there.
That's what we saw Aerowolf do quite a bit of over the last weekend, with banning the Jaeger. Some definite, you know, some abuse of Ying and abuse of, you know, we could also see some abuse of frag grenades.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm expecting to see. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Strider, and this is to all of you viewers. Strider has been the notorious Buck main and IQ main who has just loved throwing those coconuts. He always seems to find those angles. And look, at the moment with this current lineup, if assuming that we've got the IQ staying, yep, that's 6 frag grenades from Taboo, with Jaeger being banned by Outlaws. If I'm Outlaws right now looking at this reveal phase, I'm thinking,
Got to be worried about that death raining from above. And we did see Striking had originally on the Ying, but then he's gone over to Glaz. Are they going to pick over to the Ying?
I think it'd be a smart move. I don't think that... I mean, typically, in my opinion, when you bring a Glaz, unless you have a really, really good Glaz player who can kind of just work as a solo unit, you have to have other operators who are ready to complement operators with smoke grenades. But no, Glaz is going to lock it in.
Right, no team going for a 6th pick. Interesting.
So I'm interested to see how these 6 frag grenades are going to be utilized. Nonetheless, it's Armory Archives who's going to be shown out first. So Outlaws, despite me talking again and again about their event strat, they are still preferring that top floor bomb site, which is default for so many teams. And speaking of default, it does look like a fairly standard setup. Reinforcements all in Fountain, in Archives, and holes in the floor of Armory Lockers in order to deny a plant from below.
Yeah, we're going to see holes put on through this floor. Defenders want to hold them, but of course, double-edged sword definitely come back and work against you as well as for you.
And I mean, that'd be Strider on the Buck, right? Strider hasn't been playing a lot of Buck for a long time in my recollection, but like last season, he was just a Buck main. I'm saying every round you'd see him, and what is he doing? That was a very quick spawn peek.
It wasn't even a pick, like they wouldn't have had a chance to get anywhere near it.
No. Was he looking for drones?
Probably. That probably makes more sense, doesn't it? Especially with where his crosshair was aimed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Now, a lot of barbed wire being placed on the armory side as well, trying to make that push a little bit more difficult. But with no Jaeger available and 3 sets of frags, there's just so much to do, so much to use for Taboo. Flushing out all these anchor positions, especially since in Border, there's so many of those walls which have those little archways above them you can throw grenades over. I just don't know how this is going to be defensive favored in any way, shape, or form.
Already, we see Taboo looking a lot more, ready and coordinated, pushing through the map, clearing efficiently, and making sure they have a goal in mind and they're working towards it all together.
Historically, Taboo have been very good on Border. That was last season with a slightly different lineup, but it was just always a great map for them, especially on the back of, number one, Joey G's Blackbeard play. He no longer plays for this team, but the other, second half of that would be Strider's grenade play. And I mean, I'm just going to keep talking about it because I can't comprehend that there's no Jaeger right now and 6 frag grenades for the attackers to use.
Yeah, it's definitely a very worrying prospect. All kills in the round could be frag grenades.
That's right. We're still one to share around. And it does look like 1 frag has been thrown out and Tins has taken a lot of damage for it. Wow, Lippy just pushing straight in through vents, sledgehammering open that wall, taking out the SMG-11 and finishing Joker. A great job denying that vertical play from the Pulse.
Yeah, it's going to deny a lot as well, as we're going to see Strider push on in, but no. Tins is there for the frag on the smoke. He's gone low, but it doesn't matter as that was from earlier, as we're going to see the smoke come on out, try and deny the Glaz. He's going to run on back from that as he's taking a bit of damage, and he's going to be peeked through the smoke. He should get to safety, I'm thinking.
Yeah, unless there's a Maestro device or an Echo drone in here, they're not going to know that striking has been downed. I think that's another grenade wasted. We still have at least 1 grenade up, but surely Rippy has 2 still in hand. He just has to make sure to utilize them. I really think that making sure to utilize those frags is the primary way to flush out players from archives. Striking has taken down Tins. Now it's not looking so good for Taboo, but they need someone to play on the northeast balcony in order to deny Muesli his rotates.
Oh, and he's going to toss the C4 on through. Doesn't connect, though. Might have done a bit of damage, but his position's been seen by that drone as well.
Jam is ready to aggress. Proning down. He doesn't actually shoot. Muesli takes out that drone, denying that intel, but now P not seeing the prone player. Jam jumps right onto him, takes down Muesli. 2 players, 1 player left, and he's just going to try and deny the plant with the Echo drone, but he's going to get rushed, no doubt. If he can deny this plant, though, that's game over. A round over. Casper, though, taking down Rippy the first one, but he gets taken down then by striking with the OTS.
Yeah, great play there by Taboo. Very swift, very fast. And beautiful shot.
Well, that was a nice round from both teams, actually. We saw some really good plays, especially the use of that smoke from... Who was it? Was it Tins?
Yeah, Tins on the smoke.
Yeah, he played really well denying that Glaz for a long time. But it wasn't enough, and Taboo do take that round.
Yeah, I was surprised that, they were trying to take the heads up fight with that smoke, of course. Like, just toss a grenade over onto where and open up the hole with the Habana. Yeah. Like, it would have been so easy to counter, make sure that smoke could not sit there at all. As we are going to see them head downstairs, what you spoke about, Castle and Ventilation Room Workshop.
Yep, and Rippy didn't use his frags once, I'm going to point out. Just as the last thing, he didn't use any of his frag grenades. He brought 6, he only used 4, if that. We didn't have a single grenade kill, much to my disappointment. That's all I want to see, Monkey. It's all I want to see.
Well, some of us aren't as bloodthirsty as you are. Sorry, Dave.
We're going to see, I believe, I'm not quite sure, was it Legion being switched off of in order for Joker to play the Valkyrie? Nice hiding that, but if Jam's going to be playing IQ and very aware, he's going to be taking out those cams anyway. And like you mentioned before, Vents Workshop defense for Outlaws. However, with Mira being banned, it's going to make that defense a little bit worse, a little bit more difficult. However, I have seen Outlaws still attempt this same setup without a Mira, and it's had even less success than it would typically.
Camera feed up and running.
Yeah, so without a mirror, you say it's going to be a bit harder. I definitely have to agree, for sure, like, not being able to pre-fire through those reinforced walls definitely does make things harder, though maybe that's why we're seeing the Valkyrie come out to try and give that information anyway, go for a bit of a, like, kind of where they are, just not as exact as a mirror.
And speaking of intel gathering, those Ella proximity mines also do assist with intel gathering, as we've seen used by Jam last last map on Clubhouse, well, for his runouts. But I'll be interested to see exactly where Casper puts them all out. He's still got 2 in hand.
Yeah, I think they are great for people who are roaming. Can toss one out as just as a precautionary, because presetting them all doesn't always. Oof, that's some fast movement. Presetting them all isn't always the optimal way to use them.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, there's so much versatility there to be utilized. But Muesli is going to take off the first kill. Rippy goes down. No sledge. Now that is the easiest and most direct counter to those castle barricades already off the board. So, great job from Muesli to really take down that early presence from Rippy.
I have no idea where that was as well.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I don't know how that happened, or where it happened from, but it happened.
Well, goodbye then, Rippy, as it's a 5-on-4. Top floor control coming on out nice and swiftly. Valkyrie cameras getting seen and the such.
Yeah, and once again, Strider playing his infamous buck. I feel like this is, flashback right now. Quite enjoying to seeing Strider bringing that buck again. And, well, he's going to be using his skeleton key to open up a lot of the floor, as we see so typically, but he's going to get taken down by a beautiful explosive C4 from Strider. I'd like to see where that was. I do believe it was in the main area of Armory.
Yeah, this is not going great here for Taboo, as they are at 2-man deficit. And it seems like, their push has just been completely shut down.
1 minute 16 to still make things work, but, I mean, he's got Crude having taken a lot of damage. Only 2 players from the Outlaws roster are lit, and there still hasn't been any meaningful presence taken by Taboo. A nice pick from Striking, but he's going to have to do a lot more than that to make this go the full length. Crude using breaching charges on Hibana. Nice way to open up that floor with his 2 other soft bridge companions, the Buck and the Sledge, being off the board.
Yeah, well, it's great that they have a backup when Buck and Sledge have gone down, of course. No stun grenades to burn ADSs, but that's not required. This is something I spoke about over the weekend when we saw Jaeger ban so much. Like, you can bring different utility and not have to use that, meta utility to destroy ADS systems. But it looks like Joker might have a nice little backstab right here if he starts moving, as Casper's going to engage in a fight, and he's going to be found by Crude from above. How has this gone so wrong here for Outlaws? It's a 3-on-2, man advantage to Taboo.
But Crew gets taken down, however. It's a 2 versus 2. 14 seconds means that Jam has to push this. And Joker's going to push right in, but Jam take him down, though. It's now a 1 versus 2 for Striking. Just managed to land enough shots. He needs to be switching to the pistol. There's no time. He has to find this shot, but he does. What on earth are you doing, Joker? Striking finds that final kill. That should never have happened.
Just run outside. Like,
yeah,
simple
exactly.
one tap or something. But, that was beautiful, as Taboo do take that round, probably against the runner play in that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't understand at all. So what happened in that round, right? Outlaws got 2 nice and early picks. Great job. Taboo came back, forcing themselves into the side, especially with that Glaz striking. I believe it was a 3K for him. He just kept on pushing in, and Crude using that vertical play also helped out. Then it turns into a situation where Taboo have the advantage. Joker does a great job denying the plant, and Striking just breaks all the rules of the game and wins. Even though he didn't switch to his secondary, he spent all that extra time reloading his rifle. Why not just switch to the pistol? I don't understand.
The banana vision.
Yeah, maybe he does. That's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, Outlaws might be feeling a bit annoyed over that. They really feel like they should have won that round for sure.
I agree, and well, after 2 unsuccessful defenses, they're going to head straight back upstairs. They're not committing to either of their defensive sites. Switching off of the pulse, Bundy considers a Valkyrie before finally settling on a mute for the 6th pick.
Yeah, well, here we go. Back upstairs, if I recall correctly. They didn't change it after I recalled it. Yep. Armory Lockers and Archives coming out once again. For Outlaws' sake, I hope they can be a bit more successful. We do see that 6 pairs of frag grenades, the IQ, and the Glaz as well. So, with that Jaeger ban, like, I'm expecting to see more Ying play, but it's really not coming through, is it?
I agree. I mean, Ying is very powerful, but I suppose it's just not something that is necessarily particularly comfortable for Taboo, or perhaps they see that they really need all this utility brought from the main, the frag the frag operators. If anything, I would get rid of the sledge for a Ying, but I think that Jam is the primary Ying player for Taboo. So maybe if Rippy was playing IQ and Jam was on the Ying, that would be able to work a little bit better, but Rippy really needs to start using these frag grenades. I mean, ADSs are off the board. You brought the frag grenades, start using them.
The way that Rippy's playing that sledge, though, seems like a comfort pick, though. He's just running through walls as he's sledging them and taking shots. Like, if you have to have really good reaction speeds if you're like not expecting someone to come in behind to be able to, turn around, find where the sound is, and take the shot. Like,
Once again, Rippy is doing that.
I don't know. I think it's finally well balanced the time it takes for like you just sledge through and then pull your weapon out.
Yeah, I agree. And now a little bit of a roam clear coming out from Taboo. Striking, trying to hold this rotate. He's getting very aggressive. He gets sucked in. He has the potential to really lose all that utility that's available to him.
Yeah. Well, it is the start of this round. 1 minute off the clock. No damage done down. Just the standard clearing stuff out. But there is no roam game, I think. With the pulse down there last time, there would expect to be something similar, but not to be.
Joker was downstairs, but he rotated back up. Jam has a lot of intel onto Archive, which is going to be very useful for his team. There you go. Finally managed to jump over, and I think his drone got taken out immediately as well. The Officer's push is starting to take shape from Taboo, and no doubt these frag grenades will be used to flush out those key positions, particularly that one inside of Fountain. Now, Rippy's got the first kill. Once you said comfort pick, using that vertical play, SMG11 takes down Muesli.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if we saw him put some pressure up through the floor with those frag grenades. As we are going to see Casper find Jam another SMG11 kill.
Yeah, and well, Strider, he's the man I've seen do the best grenades onto that spot ever. He always knows exactly how to throw those grenades. And that's going to net him a kill onto Bundy. Casper's playing very, very well, and Striking potentially going to suck in some of those toxic babes, but he managed to punish Casper for it. Now Strider as well onto Joker. It's once again Tins in a 1v4. Same story as last time. What can he really put together?
Well, they can't rely on him to step up huge to win this round. I think Outlaws really need to start defending that officers area a lot better, as the push from the officers from Taboo is just so strong right now.
Did they drone him out? They did. Finally, Rippy spotted him out. They've got plenty of time, and Strider just peeking on is going to take down Tins, and that's all she wrote. Yet another round, 3 in a row for Taboo.
Yeah, I love this pre-fire here. Starts shooting before he's even seen the head, and then finishes off the head. Alright, so 3 in a row for Taboo. They are looking dominant here on border.
I'm curious, do you think this is an attacker side? Like, I asked this the same thing last time, but is this an attacker-sided ban phase, or is this just Taboo playing better?
Well, you'd think with Therma off the board, it's very difficult for any attack on this top floor. I think it is Taboo playing better. As I said in that very first round on their attack, they were very concise and precise. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. Whereas on Clubhouse, it did look a bit puggy, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't understand this Jaeger ban at all. I mean, maybe Outlaws are so confident in their attacks when they don't have a Jaeger to deal with, or maybe they just really struggle dealing with the Jaeger, but it just means that Taboo are punishing them so effectively. Rippy is finally going to switch onto that Ying that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and Bundy, he's thinking about changing something up. Is he going to, or is he going to stay?
No,
he's going to stay.
Interesting choice. What do you think that's that Outlaws have to do to really, make the difference here? They once again picked the top floor. I mean, after their first loss, they went downstairs, but then came back upstairs and still haven't managed to win that. What do you think they have to do?
I'll tell you what, they need to kill Striking, because he's just having so much success. He's been a definite thorn in their side.
Absolutely, and wow, I like this adaptation from Tins. Placing that deployable shield means that now Striking, who has been typically pushing in through Fountain, is going to have to vault that shield. So a little bit more difficult to actually push on through. And, well, if you couple that with some Legion Mines and the Gas Babes, potentially Striking will be taken down before he can even push in there. So I'm loving this adaptation from Outlaws.
Yeah, well, with all the frag grenades, to be honest, I don't think that shield's going to last too long.
That's true. As long as all of Taboo actually manage to use their frag grenades.
recovered the diffuser.
Yeah, Rippy no longer on the sledge, no longer on that, well, what we assume is to be a comfort pick. Gone for the Ying instead.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether this is going to be an arm retake this side. It would actually be really clever for Taboo right now to just go for an arm retake, but they are shaping around the outside. Striking, getting the first kill. This man is on fire today. He's just topped 10 kills across 4 rounds so far.
He was on 8, wasn't he, at the start of this one? So 9?
Oh, was he? Okay, my bad. Sorry, I'm
well, let him get another one and he'll be there.
Yeah, really doing well so far. And, oh no, if Jam can take down that Echo drone, that'll be a significant blow to Outlaws.
Yeah, it's been so good gathering the information for the smoke when he's tossing out those babes. Just want to see this wall completely demolished. Make sure it's, you know, doesn't exist anymore. This Ricky's going to be the first one to push on in.
Attackers have located
Yeah, and this Ying will not only assist with taking Fountain, not that they had any trouble taking Fountain before, but it'll also help out in pushing into Archives as well. Tins is the one playing inside of Fountain this time, not Casper, and well, he's going to get taken down by a grenade. There's not, what can you do when you have all these grenades, when you have Strider just playing like that? There's nothing that Outlaws can do. 5v3 now, the gas is doing something, but Joker finds the first kill. Striking is off the board.
Yeah, so he's down. That thorn in their side as Casper's going to take a lot of damage. We hear the Yang push in as well, but Bundy's there. But Jam is there almost immediately as well. 3-on-2 now as Joker and Bundy are remaining as some more damage is done by the frag grenade. We're going to see the push from Joker, but the timing just there is going to mean he can't confirm that frag.
Bundy could do a lot more damage here, but not if he gets taken down just like that. Joker's the one who's really been
That's
making...
Diffuser.
Diffuser's down, only 2 players left. Taking down the Claymore. Crude and Jam, the last ones to try and clutch against Jam, but no Joker finds one, but Crude with a refrag. Taboo almost had a round stolen from them and right on the back of Joker, but Crude just saves it in the nick of time.
Yeah, and I think that was because he thought in his mind he has to go for that diffuser. That was sitting right at the forefront there. Allows him to get the flank off on the remaining player, but a good attempt at the clutch there.
I definitely agree. I mean, Joker really stepped up that round. I mean, the first step that he did in that round was taking down Striking, the player you said that Outlaws need to shut down. And then he progressed onto shutting down every other player on Taboo. Crude, I think, rotating to get that diffuser, maybe a little bit ill-coordinated with Jam. There's no point in having Jam keep peeking that when Joker is on fire and Crude's going for diffuse. There was a whole minute on the board when Strider died. Jam and Crude just had to go together and refrag.
Look at this. We've seen a Monty come on out. Ventilation room workshop. What are we going to see here? Like, are they going to try and do a Monty plant? Were they expecting them to stay upstairs and just do a pick in the doorway?
Well, it is the last round for Taboo, and nope, it's just Rippy just baiting it out. I just want to see an armory push now. I mean, I guess you could argue if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For Taboo, just keep going for that officer's push, but I mean, it would really throw
this time.
Oh, there you go. My bad. I mean, what can Outlaws bring out of this one? They lost their other downstairs hold. How can they make this one any different?
Defenders, protect your
Well,
bombs from being
you know, they need to just get those early picks right, then don't let them get picked back later on in the round.
Yeah. Well, that's what
Pretty
happened
simple.
last time. Yeah, they got 2 early picks, which was beautiful. And then what happened? Striking got a 1 versus 2 clutch. And look, Sky, who's observing, pointed out to me that clutch that Striking got, that final kill, the timer said 0:00. There was literally no time left on the clock.
Yeah, those last second clutches are always nutty to see. 4-0 lead though.
to insertion.
And so heading into this one, Outlaws, do they have a hope in this one? What's happening?
Seconds left.
I really think that Taboo are going to close out this round. I mean, when we see the switch of sides, maybe Outlaws will have an opportunity to pick things up, but it's just not working so far. There's nothing that Outlaws have been able to show us that really effectively counters to what Taboo do. And in the rounds that have been good for them were just, you know, cheeky plays like that last one from Joker. And Taboo managed to pull out
Was this
that one
spawn pick?
anyway.
Oh no, it's too quick. Oh, I realized the round's even started already. Wow.
What? Are you awake, Monkey? Musa is going to be aggressing onto Strider, pushing in through detention. Outlaws. Oh, wow. Taking a lot of damage, but Jam also playing inside of Tellers. This is a nice pinch from Taboo.
Yeah, they've been very quick, very precise and concise, as I said earlier. Sorry, I'm still waking up.
And I love this angle. Have you seen that angle before?
Cover the diffuser.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, it's a lovely angle. You can just open up that wall. You have full sight into server. Anyone getting too overzealous in there is going to get taken down. Crude's going to spot out the Legion. Rippy's now completely aware of Muesli playing in there, and only one bullet will finish off Muesli. But I think Joker might be going for a run out inside of the vents on the archive side.
Yeah, they need to be very careful of the presence up above as well. We did see Bundy up there, but it looks like they're just not worrying about it. But Joker's going to find Rippy. The first frag in this one, and ooh, what are they doing? Striking. He's just sitting in the middle of the bomb site. He's going to be down and finished off by the toxic gas.
This is unacceptable from Taboo. They're just pushing downstairs without having any top control. You can't do that. A nice flick from Strider helps him clean up Muesli. It's Crude now pushing into the side, but he runs straight past one of them. That was just poor awareness. Not checking that spot. Strider's trying to get a nade through the floor. It actually might find one. What was that? Casper gets deleted. 2 versus 3 now. This is still potentially salvageable for Taboo, even though Outlaws have the advantage. Strider finds another one. How does this man do it? It's a 1 versus 2 clutch situation for Jam. He just has to try and get through this wall first.
Yeah, there we go. He's going to use a bit of ammo to open it up. So, Joker and Bundy against Jam. Who's going to win this one as Jam is taking his time. He's not droning. He's still got a frag grenade on board, but he might be completely out of drones.
Outlaws have set up really nicely to refrag, which is what's going to be so difficult for Jam. Now, I've seen some insane clutches from this man, but I mean, recently he hasn't quite stepped up to the plate. This is the opportunity to prove that he's still the Jam that everyone knows him for. You know, 1 versus 2, but Joker and Bundy on the other side, they have to win this. This is the last round that they get to defend.
Oh, that toss is going to do half of the Jam's health, and that's a shot there, but Bundy's there to find it in the end. That was a great attempt, but, you know, Taboo, it seems like they like to put themselves at disadvantageous positions in rounds.
I agree. I mean, what was that rush from, what was it, Rippy? Now, Rippy got run out on, which I spotted out before from the Valkyrie upstairs. And then Striking just pushed inside events and got taken out. That was unfortunate for him, but, I mean, that shot from Jam really had my heart pumping. That last shot there. But, I mean, Outlaws needed to win that. They deserved to win that. They played that last round so well at the end of it, even when Jam got to that position. Nonetheless, finally a defensive win. Interesting that it was actually the downstairs bomb site, which was the one that finally got one for Outlaws. But now they're going to have to attack, and they're at a 3-round deficit.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hill to climb, of course. Taboo on defense now themselves, and you know, honestly, thinking back to the top rated bands, I really do feel like it is defender sided.
You reckon? Defender sided?
Yeah, I reckon without the thermite, it means they're going to be able to hunker down a bit more. Like Mira and Jaeger, no biggie off the board, in my opinion.
Really? I would argue against that. I mean, Jaeger off the board, like maybe not so much against teams that don't like to use frag grenades, but against Taboo. With Strider, I mean, I've been blowing Strider's trumpet quite a lot in this match, but really, Strider he always finds, if there's anyone hunkering down, like you said, I mean, that's just going to get found by a frag grenade. All it takes is a drone and then a grenade. Nonetheless, top floor is going to get taken for Taboo. A nice lineup. Once again, Jam on the Ella. This seems really strange to me.
Yeah, the Ella pick. Like, it's just because it's off meta, or like, you don't really expect Jam to play that?
No, like if anyone's gonna play, yeah, maybe Jam or Rippy, but I just don't understand the pick. Is Strider gonna go for a peek? Striking, pardon me. He is. Oh no, this won't peek.
Oh, I love this.
Oh no! He fight. Oh no! What? Crude and Striking both go for spawn peeks, and they both get taken down early. What? They were both there. Taboo, what are you doing? That was just dumb. If you don't mind me saying, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah, well, they're doing that thing where they put themselves at the deficit so they can win the round.
Well, Striking is the one who's been doing that for them, and he's off the table. I can't believe it's the Smoke who ran out as well. I mean, Crude is not known to be a particularly mechanically skilled player. He's one of the best players in ANZ, in my opinion, but not for his mechanical skill. Now Rippy's going to get taken down as well. I think at this point, oh no, what a shot, Strider. But still, Taboo just have to ride off this round.
Yeah, you know, Strider and Jam would have to do something really amazing if they want to win this round. Full stop. You'll see the pre-fire from Strider allows him to get back into the bomb site. So now they're going to try and hunker down, but in a 4-on-2, it's going to be difficult. On the bright side, hard breacher off the board.
Yeah, and that's true, but that said, I mean, so is the smoke off the board. Smoke and the Legion will be the two operators I'd want on the defense right now. Oh, Strider wins these. Oh, Strider wins these! He takes down Muesli. Strider's just going insane right now. He's gotten 2 beautiful headshots with those little unpeaks. He's on fire, and the problem is now that if Outlaws just keep feeding him, he's just going to keep finding them.
Who's peeking Strider? This man, he's landing everything. This is going to put some damage down to the buck below as well. Jam wants to regress on that. I was going to see. Here we go.
Down.
No way this round is going at Taboo. It's looking like it. 2-on-2 now.
Oh no, and pre-firing through the wall, Strider gets revealed, but he's going to drop the hatch, I do believe. That would probably be a smart choice. He has a C4. If I'm Strider right now, I'm C4ing. Does he have the intel to go from below? If he denies his plant, oh no. He finds one. It's a, oh my god, Taboo, how did you manage to pull that away? Strider and Jam. What is happening right now?
Oh,
what?
I tell you, if
Monkey.
Taboo put themselves at the deficit, they win the round.
You're a prophet, Monkey. Please tell me, Monkey, how did Taboo win that round? What did I just witness?
I don't know. I'm just as much disbelief as you are that that round actually came off. But now it's a 5-1 lead here for Taboo, and they must surely be like feeling on top of the world.
Oh, how do you come back from that? I mean, you just got 2 kills onto spawn peekers. That's like, I don't know about you, but getting a kill onto a spawn peeker, one of the most fulfilling, plays you can make in this world. And then right at the end as well, and then the 3rd kill, they also them, and then they lose a 2 versus 4. It was essentially
5, wasn't
it was a 2 versus 5, yeah, because I mean, Strider got that kill. How do you lose that? It's not like there was utility available to the defenders. There was 1 C4. That was the only thing they had available. And Strider even managed to use that. How do you come back from losing a round like that? How can you not be completely psychologically destroyed?
Oh, are we seeing GG here? Is that what you're expecting?
If this was me, if I was playing for Outlaws, I would not be able to... I don't think I'd be able to pull another round off. I don't think my teammates would be either, but I mean, if Outlaws manage to come back from that, I'll be wholeheartedly impressed. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, it can be rather tilting, but this is where the teams really show their mettle, show what they're made of. Can they come back from a round like that? Definitely, but can they do it? We'll see.
Outlaws, to me, as I've seen them through this Pro League season, I've been really impressed with Outlaws coming from, being relegated into the Challenger League and then completely changing their roster. Might I remind you, Rippy and Striking both played for Outlaws last Pro League season, so Outlaws lost a lot of their players. And now, oh wait, no way this is gonna work.
They're just going for them big ballsy plays. Oh, a bit of damage put down onto Tins. Is the I don't know. Do you think this is disrespect coming out from Taboo, just peeking everything, spawn peeks and the such?
I think that they're just playing into what they've already established, which is, I mean, they failed the spawn peek last round, but they won an impossible clutch. So now they're playing into that mentality game. I mean, Striking has just been playing cheeky all day, honestly. He's been doing some great roaming on Clubhouse as well.
Yeah, well, 45 seconds into the round and a lot of damage has been done to the hard breacher, but it shouldn't really matter, as I'm sure Tins will be able to get his job fully through.
Oh no, yes. Strider. He just opened up a sweat hole. We just missed that, but we saw it from Muesli's perspective, and Muesli just walked up to this completely solid wall, throws down a drone. Meanwhile, Strider walks directly up to the wall, opens up a sweat hole, and just domes him through it.
Well, look, there's the glass off the board as the drones are going to come on in through, spotting out these positions. Strider very worried that someone could be repelling over at Sim, which is going to see the Lion E1D come off. Oh, that was interesting.
This grenade could completely finish off Strider. However, it's now no longer timed with the E1D. Strider with the perfect timing in that run. He just completely evades it. Strider's got all the good timing today. Striking now finds Bundy. That's the Lion off the board. The second EE1D will not be available for use.
The attackers
Yeah, really just a bit of coordination issues there. EE1D and frag grenade together, please.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's something that we were saying that Taboo haven't been doing well, but no, this time it's Outlaws who are facing our criticism. Casper, looking through these holes, is going to completely expose him to Strider, who they didn't clear out. And, you know, you've got to be expecting that. Jam and Joker, no, Jam does take down Joker, but meanwhile, Tins finds the first frag for his team. He's got to find 4 more to ace clutch. The first player who did, oh, there you go, he falls. Crew takes him down, and that was such a dominant performance from Taboo on border.
Wow, 6-1, 2 rounds that they should have lost. They managed to salvage and pull back into their favor. Nuts. That's all I can say, it's nuts.
I can't believe that second last round. I still can't believe it. And, well, a dominant showing from Taboo, redeeming themselves for their loss and draw against Control from last week. Outlaws, unfortunately, not quite stepping up today.
Yeah, Strider stepping up large with 11 kills, and then Striking not far behind with 9, and then Gem with 7. The two, you know, fragger players on that roster definitely stepping up.
What can we really say about that lineup? What does it tell us about these teams? I mean, you know, we've had Outlaws in 8th place. In my opinion, they could potentially be vying for 7th spot. They're pretty toe-and-toe with DedSet. They actually drew both of their matches against DedSet. Whereas Taboo sitting in 5th. Does this match, this result, does this affect your opinions of any of those positioning?
No, I don't know. Taboo did look really good on border, but they definitely do have quite a few gaps on Clubhouse. So, you know, I think they... You know, they looked great, but I think it's more of we saw Outlaws, you know, confidence just completely crumbling. Like, I don't know. That's what it looks like.
This really links me to a little bit of a broader discussion about being strategic and having prepared strategies and having chemistry as a team. Because something I banged on about, you know, since before that match started was the fact that I know Outlaws have strategies for border. I talked about that downstairs hole with the castle and Mira. I mean, Mira was banned, but they still did it with the castle.
Yeah.
I think this match has really got to reflect that it's not all about, like, strats are 10%. Strats are the final 10% that allow you to beat other teams who are, you know, at your level. But what really makes the difference is just chemistry, cohesion with a team, and knowledge, individual knowledge and plays. And
yeah, well, you know what I like to say about that is, you know, teamwork is, you know, where the sum of the parts is greater than, you know, the parts on their own.
Exactly. And, like, don't mistake me if I'm not saying that everyone should be an individual fragger. I'm saying that if you can sit there on an echo drone and make calls to your team and occasionally concuss players, and you help your team, you help your fraggers get, you know, 4 or 5 kills around, that's amazing. And you are bringing value to that team. And it doesn't have to be some amazingly thought out strat where you reinforce that wall and you never change anything. That's not how you win in Rainbow Six. It's about chemistry and it's about working together as a team, whether you're supporting the fraggers or doing the actual fragging itself.
Yeah, definitely. It's, you know, what we always see from these top teams, adaptation and chemistry.
Yep. And so we're going to have a short break coming up just now. So stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you very shortly the second set of matches, which will be Atletico and DedSet. G'day guys, and welcome back to the Rainbow Six Pro League for Australia and New Zealand. And we're about to get into the second half of matches. My name is James Devmata, and joining me again, the one and only Monkey Fist. How are you going?
Yeah, pretty pumped. Should be a good matchup right here, right now.
Yep, and that matchup will be Atletico versus DedSet. And, well, if you want a little bit of background on those teams, Atletico currently the seed 1 position in the rankings. They've had a very impressive set of matches so far with 5 wins, 0 draws, and 1 loss. And I believe that 1 loss was to Sonic Darksided, who they did beat in their other map against that team.
Yeah, and you know, they're also going to be even stronger, I feel, after having just gone to LAN this past weekend. That's going to do wonders for their team synergy, I feel.
I definitely would agree. They did have a, not fantastic LAN against the Asian teams. They did lose twice, once against Airwolf and against Sengoku. That's the Southeast Asians and the Japanese, but still it was pretty good for them.
Yeah, getting to see their teammates and also play alongside them, like I really feel like it'll be a lot more beneficial because you can just see how your teammates moving their mouse and what they're doing, and it'll let you just gain that little bit more of understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, their opponents at DedSet, they've had a little bit of a rough roster, a rough time so far. They've actually drawn, I believe, 4 out of 6 of their matches, or is it 6 out of 8 of their matches or something like that? Something pretty insane. They drew against SYF. They drew against Taboo. They drew against Outlaws. So I believe that's 6 out of 8. So yeah, anyhow, that's DedSet.
Yeah, so let's take a look at these lineups here. Atletico will be first up. Do you want to read us through those ones? Dev? He's gone. His mic's
Todd,
gone.
Silix, Emarin, and Ethan, my bad. Look, I'm trying to switch to push to talk because we've having some issues with the automatic detection. But nonetheless, yeah, this is Atletico, the roster, Todd, Silix, Derpa, Emarin, and Ethan. As you said, just having been to LAN.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, so who's the main player standing out for these guys, you reckon?
Probably Emarin in my eyes, but on top of that, there's also Ethan. Anyhow, let's move on to DedSet now. Vicious, Flossie, Shifi, Fisher Guy, and Uni, who's the most recent addition to the roster.
Yeah, and the interesting storyline I'm looking at here is Uni used to play for Atletico.
Yeah, and that's actually true. His most recent position was on Atletico, where he was on where he got replaced by Ethan.
Yeah, and I think he might have a bit of a bone to pick, something to prove, something to try and just show that maybe dropping me wasn't the right idea. But I don't know, he's gonna have to step up big with it. Yeah.
So I mean, getting into this match, what kind of a result are you expecting between Atletico and DedSet?
I'm expecting Atletico to win this rather comfortably. They're much stronger. They are top of the table, and I'd be surprised if they did drop a map here.
I would definitely agree with you. I mean, we're talking about the number 1 in the ladder versus the 7th. And I mean, as we just head into the match, our first map will be Oregon, which was banned out, which was reached by after the bans. And for the second match, we will be having Coastline later today. But first up here on Oregon, let's get into the match.
Yeah, there we go then. So good luck, have fun's coming on out. I was going to pick some bands. Now what are we going to see banned? I wouldn't be surprised to see a Blackbeard or a Ying maybe off the board.
Even Hibana. Atletico have been very good on the Blitz as well, though Blitz and Ying both, so I wouldn't be surprised DedSet getting rid of that.
Yeah, it's going to be Thatcher.
This tells me that DedSet likely wanting to go for some mute setups to help themselves down in the basement. The Thatcher is the most effective counter to that, but I mean, it's entirely possible Atletico will just ban mute later in the line.
Yeah, and then we're going to see Atletico's choice. I don't know, maybe we are going to see the Hibana van come out. Maybe it's going to be a Ying, maybe a Thermite even, probably not. IQ.
What do you think about that? In my opinion, that's just directly banning against Fisher Guy from DedSet. He's a very prominent IQ player, and it'll allow Atletico to play a little bit more aggressively with things like Echo Drones and Goo Mines, and also Valkyrie cameras.
Yeah, feature guy does do a lot of work on that IQ, of course. So trying to counter him, but then of course he comes through the defense ban. I'm thinking Aroma, maybe just the mirror, but oh, here we go, Jaeger.
Interesting choice there from Atletico to get rid of the Jaeger. What does that tell you?
I don't know. They want to use their Yings. I think, you know, they might have gone back and looked at those Arrow Wolf VODs and thought about a few things. And I think they might have thought, well, that's a good idea, guys. Let's take this Jaeger off the board and use it to our advantage.
To round it off, it will be Bandit off the board. So both of the GSG9. In fact, this is a 3/4 GSG9 ban with IQ, Jaeger, and Bandit off the board. Blitz being the only one that wasn't banned.
Can you imagine if we did see all of them banned out? Like, you were thinking it might have been a Blitz as the first one.
Yeah,
I
rather think interesting. It was possible. No, Blitz is going to be brought straight off the bat by Todd. I think he's probably going to start on the Ash and then 6th pick onto the Blitz, let's be honest.
Yeah, or, you know, we aren't seeing that Ying. We're not seeing too many grenades coming out either.
Well, interesting, because, I mean, with Jaeger off the board, you'd expect to bring a lot more grenades. Ying is going to be brought, but I feel like it's still possible that's going to be switched onto the Blitz. Ying is going to be great with no ADSs to worry about, as well as the Sledge with the grenades, but it's a bit of a comfort pick for Ethan.
Yeah, for sure, he definitely does do well on it. But then again, like, I suppose it's not a bad idea to reveal that Ying and then switch off it, but yeah. Just Derp and Todd to confirm. Just Todd now. Is he going to 6th pick? Is he not? You know what, I like what they do with the timer, right? You know, they don't 6th pick till the very last second. Just so, like, because if you confirm your 6 picks early, the counter finishes off.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, well, as we head into the prep phase, it is downstairs being taken, and nice little lineup from the defense. A lot of intel to gather on both of that Pulse and that Valkyrie, and as well the Echo. I want to point out the fact that we have the Mute being brought out and Thatcher banned, which is going to make it very, very difficult to open up that front hatch.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some interesting reinforcements we're seeing go on in the attic. Going to be trying to hold that whole thing down completely, it would seem, as you know, normally you have a rotate or 2 rotates up in the attic to make sure you can move around the map freely as a roamer.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, well, as we see, a lot of reinforcements being placed upstairs. Primarily, the ones to note are inside of the attic on the south side. Chiefy currently roaming on the south side. I hope he does get into a bit of a safer position before the round commences.
Yeah, well, even if not, I'm sure he can still do some damage. Even if he's not set up properly, Aroma can still have some effect if he can win those gunfights, of course. It looks like he's going to have to make a rotate hole with the C4.
Yeah, he's going to die here if he doesn't, and even if he does, it's possible he's going to get taken down. Atletico wasting absolutely no time. Salix is going to drone out Sheafy, and it's still Sheafy not managing to find that drone. Finally, the rotate hole is going to come out. Ethan, oh no, did he waste his C4? Finally, the C4 comes out, but it's too late. Sheafy's gone, taken down by the T95.
Yeah, okay, I said he can still do some damage, but no, he didn't do any right there.
No.
He falls pretty much for free. Seems like Atletico, DedSet, were just not ready for the how they were going to set up there, which is a bit interesting. Maybe it has to do with the effect of Uni coming into the team.
Well,
which is something I spoke about.
Something I'd like to point out about Uni is, I mean, he's a former Atletico player. Do you think that that's going to help out with him, you know, having an insight into the strategies? As he has taken down one player, he's going to get fragged off and beautifully sledged down. Oh my gosh, Ethan replaced Uni on Atletico, and now he's just turning that into mockery.
Yeah, he's turning that skull into a caved-in skull as Emo Rin's going to find one onto Fisho Guy and Solix onto Flossie. It's all up to Vicious in the 1-on-4. Uni, the only one to find a frag for his team so far.
Well, it's a beautiful play by him too, but you're going to have to see a lot more coming out from Vicious. That wasn't even reinforced. What? You ban Thatcher, you pick Mute, you don't even reinforce and mute up the main hatch. I don't understand at all. Vicious trying to find this first frag. He's going to get aggressive at that moment. Really? Yeah. I thought that was the shotgun to take it down, but nonetheless, first kill coming to Vicious's way. Is dealing with Ethan at the moment, and the shotgun doesn't manage to pull the trigger in time. Ethan gets, I believe, a 2K.
Yeah, there we go, and we can see the Lion in the back there just testing his crouch button, making sure it's still working. You know,
it's always important to know.
You never know how these kind of things can go wrong or go right.
That's right. You need to make sure that crouch is working because, I mean, if it comes to a situation where you need to crash and it doesn't come in, then, you know, it's really bad. So just making sure to touch that crash button is very important.
So yeah, I think we might be seeing more of the same following this that round. It's going to be Atletico all the way, unless we can see DedSet show up like we haven't seen them show up so far.
And I mean, let's discuss a little bit further the idea I had. You know, Uni is a former Atletico player. Is he going to have some kind of crazy insight that'll help counter Atletico? I mean, he did manage to get one kill by playing very unnecessarily not unnecessary, very unexpectedly aggressive. Do you think he was going to have insight into the strategies that's going to help him out, spearhead DedSet into a win?
He might have a little bit of insight into the strategy, but I don't think it's going to be too much. And, you know, he has taken up mantle of the IGL in this roster ever since coming into it. And so, you know, I think he's going to have to, if anything, it'll have to be stuff they've prepared earlier. He's not going to be able to make on-the-fly calls. And I really don't think Atletico, like, play too similarly as they did when they had Uni on the roster.
I agree. They've changed quite a bit. In particular, I mean, Ethan has not by any means been a replacement for Uni in terms of roles. I mean, Ethan plays a fragging role. He's almost like replacing Emarin as just almost like a Rizraz style, just like go in there and get kills. That's your role. And it gives Emarin a little bit more flexibility to play kind of the back angles because, Ethan is always that primary entry.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? And, you know, whereas Uni was on the roster, he'd sit back a lot more. So
yeah, and I guess he would be a little bit of an IGL as well. And that's something I'd like to talk about a little bit with Atletico. I was talking to Chief, who is the manager for Atletico, and he was telling me how Atletico, you know, you listen to them play, they don't operate like a typical team with a single IGL. They all just kind of feed each other information and all work together. It's like a little bit of a, you know, a communal kind of the way about it. You know, they'll say, oh, guys, this way's open, we could do that. And then you hear, yeah. All of them kind of agree and just make it work together.
So it's communism then.
Communism, yeah, exactly. That's what you need in Rainbow.
Yeah, as we're going to see the shots through the floor come on out, you know, that would be scarily close, to be honest, to a player's head down below.
Nice angle to open up. Just a nice way to make sure no one's getting too aggressive or too overzealous on those stairs. Fisher guy playing the Echo, though. He's playing very aggressively at the rear side of the attic near the rear tower. Potentially could do some damage. He's got a nice ACOG he can utilize there for those long angles.
It's a very aggressive spot for the Echo to be, of course, but we've got 4 players offsite, I think, now.
That's just way too many.
Yeah, it is something we saw against Aerowolf from Atletico as well. Like, they know really how to deal with that, don't they?
Yeah, and a lot of players really just getting aggressive inside of the meeting hall. Atletico completely ignoring it, just pushing down. Flossie, the mute's been taken down. Uni gets one on the Todd. Uni gets a second onto Silex. Uni's really been playing well, but he gets punished. 2 kills and then traded off. It's useful, but, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all.
He's the only one on his side to get frags at the moment, though.
That's a very good point. As we do have 3 remaining players from DedSet trying to hold out.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they're not too worried about the position of the Legion there. He's going to start moving full back to safety as Derpe's going to find Vicious, as it leaves us in a 3-on-2 man advantage to Atletico.
Yeah, Shifu really needs to get downstairs, and that's what he's going to do, rotating back through the rear tower, going all the way to the basement. Fisher guy unloading his Echo drone and pushing it towards the main laundry side of the bomb site. That Valkyrie camera getting denied. It's going to be a lot of intel off the board, so they're going to have to rely now on those Echo drones.
Yeah, of course, but 30 seconds on the clock, it can still deny a lot of time. But, oh, it's going to be seen, or was that taken out by the impact? Unsure, as Emarin's going to get up into the plant position. He's going to start committing to the plant, and I don't think there's enough time to deny it with this second Echo drone.
Nope, and look, he has to just push completely up. Laundry angle's not available, but no. Fisher guy does take down Emarin. He's getting pushed from the hatch, though. Ethan's on his back. He's potentially getting pushed as well by Derpe, playing very safely inside of the garage. Drones on the site, going to continue pinging him out until Ethan cleans him up. And another round very comfortably in the favor of Atletico.
Well, there we go. Once again, Uni doing stuff there for DedSet, but, you know, he was the only one until it was Fisher on the 1-on-3. He got his own frag as well. This is looking like it's going to be a stomping, to be honest.
Do you think that DS can really do anything to bring it forward?
I don't know. When you're going up against either, the best team in the region or the second best team in the region, like, what do you do? Like, it just can be so stifling if you've ever played against a team that's that much better for you, you know what I mean?
And so do you think that maybe Uni just going for these really aggressive individual plays, is that something that's going to help out DedSet? Or do you think it's something that they all need to do? Or do you think it's more of the kind of just the core, stratting it out, playing utility that's going to help out DedSet? Or do they just have to frag it out like what Uni's been trying to do?
Yeah, so everyone gets aggressive. Like, we did see that Atletico did have some issues playing against a lot of those Asian teams, and, they're known to play very aggressive as well. So is that what they need to... is that what we need to see from DedSet? Like, traditionally, they have been hyper-aggressive.
It's funny. I mean, DedSet, it's a long story, but I mean, they did originally, and I don't know if any of these players were on that initial roster, but they did play very, very aggressive. Back when they were known as Team Tahoot or Team Tahit even. But then, when they, matured, I guess you could say, they did start playing much more strategic. For example, in the last season of Pro League. But they still have had their roots of that aggression, and I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think that they are one of the more aggressive teams in the Pro League. I think that actually Atletico and Fnatic do kind of take that mantle as the more aggressive teams. So maybe DedSet still have that available to them to try and really emphasize and try and throw off Atletico. This Alibi pick, though, I don't know. What do you see coming out of this?
I don't know. It could just be like, they've decided, well, the Valkyrie's not working for us, let's give it a try with Alibi. Like, Uni's the one who makes these decisions, and that's what he's playing, so maybe that's what he feels like playing right now.
I mean, the Valkyrie hasn't been all useless. I mean, the cams have mostly been taken down, but, I mean, Uni's been fragging well on it. Alibi, to me, seems like a significantly less amount of utility to bring than Valkyrie, especially grabbing those impacts instead of the C4. Nonetheless, Castle will help out with this main hold, but Atletico are going to play this smart, and they're just going to be holding it off. Instead of pushing all the way into meeting, they're just going to prevent any kind of push out of meeting with that Claymore on the Castle barricade.
And, with those reinforcements that they've put upstairs, it's going to mean that they can't rotate from there either.
Yep, and well, Shifi playing the Ella. It seems really strange to me. We've got this really weird mix, like nice utility-centric operators like Smoke and Mute and Castle, and then in contrast, Ella and Alibi. It's like these two of these don't fit the rest of them.
Yeah, and there is no need at all for Atletico to make their way into meeting hall, especially if they're just going to push down onto the bomb site.
Might I point out that, I mean, DedSet are playing as if Mira has been banned. Mira is not banned. These guys could be playing Mira right now, but no, they're bringing an Ella and an Alibi instead. I don't understand.
So what was banned on defense again? It was
Jaeger and Bandit. Remember, we had the triple GST9
right.
ban.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, Ethan with a beautiful nade. As Ethan's going to find another one. This man, he is stepping up for his Atletico lineup. Because it's a 5-on-3 right now. Two of the meeting hall anchors denied.
Wouldn't want to be left in a 1v1 with Ethan, whether it's in Siege or in real life. I mean, that guy's... I wouldn't want to get in his bad side.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, he's definitely known to step up. As we're going to see the push onto the side. It's just Vicious outlined some smoke. Just try and stay alive.
Vicious is in concussed as well, going to make things a little bit more difficult for him, but he still has that utility available to him. Ethan is just on flank watch at the moment, and Silex aware of that Alibi, not pulling the trigger. However, Uni is still up, so, I mean, he could potentially play a little bit of a trick on the enemy, but that's the EE1D going out, the Yang Candela's going out, Vicious getting aggressive, getting pushed on from the rear. Ethan just dropping down from the meeting hall. Hatch finds another with the SMG-11, looking to get yet another one. Uni and him are facing away from each other. Todd takes down Vicious, Ethan onto Uni, and it's just cascades of rounds here for Atletico.
Yeah, 4K there for Ethan. He's doing a great job on the sledge. Oh, gotta make sure it works, of course.
3 rounds in a row, we've seen Atletico attack the laundry, and 3 rounds in a row, we've seen Atletico very dominantly take it as a win. What can you do for DedSet?
I don't know. Well, they're changing up to Kid Storm's main hall, as I said. Like, when you're coming up against a team that's much better than you, like not only like in individual skill, but also in just team chemistry and communication, it can just be so stifling, and you just feel like you're losing all hope. And you know, I don't want to jinx it for Deadset's sake, but sorry, I do want to jinx it for Deadset's sake. But are we going to see a 6-0 here?
I think that for Deadset, if this was me, I mean, you just do something crazy, all right? Pick Big Tower as your objective, and get Uni to keep bringing those Valkyrie cameras, get tons of intel, and get some nice comfort picks going. Just go full crazy aggressive and see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, you've missed another round. If it does work out, you might have maybe just rocked the boat a little bit, just enough to get yourself into the game.
Look at that though, Ethan, 8-1-0.
He's just not leaving any kills for the rest of his team. He's got 0 deaths. He hasn't died once. He's just entering with Sledge every time getting kills, and not a single time has he been leaving the kills for his teammates. Like, even when he was on flank watch inside of the kitchen, he got impatient after a while. I was like, all right, I'm just going to go and push down and to drop the meeting hatches, and he got 2 kills doing that.
Yeah, well, easy as you like, of course, as 3-0 up, Atletico are about to head into this 4th round. 4th action phase, I should say.
That's
the prisoner behind the... Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the prisoner behind the global shield. Yeah, I really like that. I hope that Uni gets to make good use of it. That's one way I think that the Uni's prisoners can actually be fairly useful to the site. But, you know, we'll see how it pans out and whether he can, you know, bring forth anything for his team. I feel like Atletico, though, they've got to be prepared for this defensive side as well. They've just won 3 onto the other side. They've got to be feeling pretty comfortable here as well.
What do you think of Todd on this Ying, however?
I mean, it's a comfort pick for him. He frags well on it, and he loves just shooting people who can't see him, whether he's playing Blitz or Ying. So, seems fine enough for me.
Yeah, of course. It's not like it. Do you think this is an adaptation that's come in after getting smacked by Aerowolf?
Bomb located by attackers.
I mean, the only real difference is that, I mean, he used to play more Blitz than Ying, but I don't think it's a particularly, you know, obvious adaptation. And I think for Atletico, Ima's about to place a claim and he says, oh, someone's already got one there. Honestly, I think that if Atletico are making adaptations based on their experiences with Aerowolf, they would be not showing them on stream here in this match. They'd be trying it in scrims and maybe bringing it out against the big guns such as Fnatic.
Uni's taken a lot of damage. I think he might have gone for a bit of a cheeky peek. And yeah, he's almost dead for it. Hardly alive right now.
Like, Uni being the most recent addition to the roster, he's just playing aggressive. He's just playing like a pug master, like just going for these frags. It either works or it doesn't. I mean, on the one hand, he can get some frags for his team, but on the other, like, you have to work as a cohesive team. You can't just play off individual frags because that's not going to win a game.
Yeah, as we do see Solix on flank watch, engaged in a fight. Nothing coming from it. However, I think Flossie lost the majority of his HP, but Fisho guy is going to find Ema in.
That's a commendable effort. First kill on the board for the side of Deadset. Uni's going to get a reset now. Hopefully Flossie can get one later as well. Actually, no, that wasn't even a reset. That was just him getting shot out. So, well, Uni is essentially off the board now. He just has to hold his blood, but actually, no, Flossie wants to go for it, but Ethan's pushing onto him. He's going to... No, this is going to kill Uni. Oh, my gosh. I thought Uni was going to die to that, but nope. Flossie's going to get a revive onto Uni, and potentially you can see the reverse happen. Ethan takes down Sheepy. The man is still on fire. No deaths on the board. He's aggressing up. There are 2 players to find in the attic. Will he find them? 20 seconds.
He should not have won that duel. As we're going to find Ethan with another one for Flossie, but then Solix. Ethan's down finally. Todd's just going to run on in, finds a fully blind Fisho guy, leaving it all up to Uni, 1-on-3 as the plant is going down.
They know exactly where he is on account of that lion charge revealing him. Silex is going to hold the white stairs, which is no doubt where Uni attempts to push through. Todd's going to find him, and Todd is going to find his head. As Uni's off the board, that's 4 rounds in a row. Atletico looking so very comfortable, and Todd just showing us a little bit of a dolphin dance.
4-0 here to Atletico. Wow, this has been nuts, hasn't it?
This is more traumatic than my ranked experiences, Monkey.
It's a big feels bad, man.
Oh, and trust me, I've had ranked experiences against Atletico. You don't want to be in. You don't want to be in on that. It's not fun. Oh, I feel like I'm saying this every round. What can Deadset do? Well, I mean, maybe we should just like move past that and say, well, map 2 is. I mean, let me go and check what
Coastline.
map 2 is. I mean, do you think Coastline is any chance that Deadset can,
Coastline
have any get around anywhere?
Coastline is one of Atletico's best maps.
I know. I have so much sympathy at the moment for Deadset, and well, I guess the only thing I can say is I don't think they're going to be getting some draws today.
Yeah, well, you're going up against the team at the top of the ladder, like, I don't know, it's kind of to be expected, I feel.
Technically not a ladder, but yeah, I made that mistake earlier. It's for your information, everyone. It's not a ladder. It's it's just the standings. We have a round robin system, and the top 4 teams, the 4 teams with the best win and draw rate, will be making it into playoffs come the playoffs at the end of the season.
That is a ladder.
Is it? Oh, maybe
Yeah.
I'm just clueless. There you go. It's a ladder, guys.
The standings is a ladder. It's updated after each round robin thing. But,
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just clueless. My bad.
What was I was going to say something.
Wait, let me
I've lost
just
it now.
my 2 cents. So maybe, okay, I'm casting with you today, and you're probably missing Flea, so I just have to act like Flea and talk smack, so you
yes.
can correct me.
Oh my gosh, I feel so much better now. Thank you for realizing, Dev.
Poor Flea. F's in the chat for poor Flea.
Well,
If you remembered what you wanted to say now, Monkey.
no, I didn't because I was too busy laughing now. It was important. Okay, it probably wasn't that important. Let's just focus on this. Similar operator picks, of course. Shifi on the pulse, Uni on Ella this time. Nothing's working for him, but he has got the most frags on his team, I believe. Him and
Yeah,
Fisher.
but I mean, just because you've got this, just because you have the most frags, does that justify playing low utility operators? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, if you're fragging and no one else is, play heavy utility operators, because then not only can you frag, but you can also bring utility. Flossie takes down Imorin. He's not had a good previous 2 rounds. Derper's going to refrag though, so not too much of a deficit for Atletico so far. A Zephyr for a mute.
Yeah, and Uni has been discovered on Solix's drone. He's going to make his way to Big Tower. He's just taking everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what Uni does, man. Uni just runs around and shoots stuff.
Yeah, Flea was saying, I think it was Flea was saying the exact same stuff last week. Like, Uni's just peeking everything like an absolute madman, and that's what he's doing on this Deadset lineup as well.
I think that's something that he was, he did on Atletico, but perhaps it wasn't what Atletico were looking for. And I mean, you could argue it's working for Deadset, except for the fact that Deadset haven't actually managed to be victorious on these rounds or many of their Pro League matches at all. Ethan, what are you doing? How does he manage to get that? That SMG-11 does not have a big clip. He finds a headshot and then a body shot. This guy still hasn't died in this game. I have no words for this man.
Oh no, he did die last round.
He did? Oh, that's so unfortunate for him.
Oh, there we go. That's something. Vicious jumps out to find Todd 3-on-2. This does feel a lot more doable now.
You reckon it's doable? 2v3. Atletico still have the advantage, and Ethan is still alive. It's not over until Ethan's on the floor.
Yeah, well, a minute on the clock to work with. Push is going to have to come in soon, but they don't really have too much utility for making their way in. Maybe the Lion, but that's only 4 seconds.
45 seconds on the clock, however, as Fisher Guy's going to be peaking in time with that Legion mine being detonated. Ethan very much aware of that, trying to put some pressure on through the floor, but he's not a buck. He can't open up much more of that floor. Derper, though, going to find Fisher from the kids' windows. He's still there, and Vicious is aware of it.
Yeah, he's stuck in a hard spot right now, Vicious. Seems like it's always him last left alive as the plant's going to come on down, but Ethan with another frag. This man, he just wants all the kills to himself. He's hungry, and he wants it.
I want to look into the scoreboard again. This is just insane. I mean, we're on track to have Ethan get a kind of a record for kills per round, I think. Like, there's no way that he can compete for most kills per game because we're only likely to see one more round. And a 6-round game, that's very short. So he's just been doing so well, and his KD is going to skyrocket after this match.
Yeah, look at this. Todd,
Don't, Todd.
Is this the BM coming out? Is this what we're seeing?
Don't do it, Todd. Just don't do it.
it's going to be revealed. Are they going to be annoyed about this?
I feel like
side?
Deadset will be. Yeah, if I was on Deadset, I'd be pissed.
Is that like a tilting tactic? Like, I don't know. I did. Yeah, look, he's going to switch off it. But I did watch an interesting video about taunting in video games, especially in like fighting games where they do have special emotes just for taunting, and similar things over in in here. Like we said the chunker pick. We see the crouch testing going on. Oh, look at that, 13 and 1.
Oh man, that's so rough right now for Deadset. Sheafy had to find a frag, but I mean, no one on his team particularly really going at it. Ethan, on the other hand, he's just stealing everything for himself.
It's just insane. But yeah, as I was saying, like it really can come into the metagame of like the mind games and such, and once again, I'm talking about mental fortitude as a team. Like, you got to prove that it's not bothering you.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that the best teams in the world really have to deal with. I mean, we want to talk about one of the team that's probably been regarded as the best in the world for the longest amount of time. We talk about Penta. Talk about their performance at the Invitational in the grand final best of 5 against Evil Geniuses. They were down 2 maps, and it was the 2 maps they thought they were going to win. I mean, now they have to win 3 straight maps in order to be back in the game, and they did just that. If that's not mental fortitude, I don't know what is. And Silex, what are you doing, man?
He's trying to get a lot with just the one, but you get what you pay for, and that's just one impact grenade.
It costs 2 for it. I mean, that's a pretty high price, but got to do what you got to do. Emo in on the roam now. Flossie has all the utility in that Inox scanner available to try and flush that out, but he's got to actually get in there. And at the moment, it's just looking so good for Atletico. I don't know what you can do if you're on Deadset right now.
Yeah, same. Minute off the clock, but Todd's going to find Sheafy. Vicious is going to trade Emo Rin back, however. But that's Sheafy still yet to find a frag on potentially the final round.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Emo Rin also off the board. He's not been having a fantastic performance so far. He's on a breadstick, but it doesn't really matter when the rest of his team, and when I mean the rest of his team, I mean Ethan is doing the rest of the work. Todd's still alive, though. He's getting pre-fired through the archive. Pardon me, there's no archives on this map. Through the master bedroom, and he's just going to head on downstairs. Those alibis detecting out the enemies as well. Nice touch.
Yeah, looks like Vicious has got another drone coming in for him. Ugh. Having a bit of trouble with that hatch, but I think he'll get there in the end after a quick reload. Looks like the push is just going to come on out. They're just going to...
Pretty good start, honestly. 3 players ready to file on through. Fisher guy's about to jump right in here. Peeking on, gets taken down by Silex, though. The support player doing pretty good so far. Derpe finds Flossie. However, Uni does find Derpe in reply and get into Kid's bedroom site. Silex is going to get finished off by Vicious, leaving 2 players... Uni a little bit stuck there. Ethan's trying to find him through the floor. It's 2 versus 2 now. Is this going to be a 6-0, or are we going to see a rally from Deadset? Uni, the only one left with his rifle in hand, and a plant denial. Uni finds the kill onto Todd, but it's all up to Ethan now. And if only Ethan had an impact grenade right now. The plant has to come down, but Uni's going to push onto Ethan. Can he save this round for his team? No. Ethan's pushing in. It's a 1 versus 1. So much time left to play with. Ethan wants to aggress onto the Blackbeard. He does. Ethan wins a 1 versus 2 for the game, 6-0.
Yeah, Ethan's nutty. That's all I got to say. he's absolutely insane. It was a good idea there from Deadset, since they realised they were kind of locked out of the site. From pushing in from where they wanted to. They're like, yeah, let's just charge on in, go balls to the wall. They did just that. They got it down to the 2-on-2. In fact, the 2-on-1. It's just, how do you stop Ethan from going 15-3 and 1?
All right, I have a question for you, Monkey. That round was, it was a pretty good game, but in your opinion, who was the MVP for the match? I know it's a tough question.
Yeah, tossing it up a bit. Who should I pick? I don't know. I think I might go with Todd. No, sorry, Ethan.
Oh, man. I mean, everyone for the longest time has been praising Emo Rin as one of the best players, particularly the best fraggers in ANZ. Emo, I think you got a bit of a run for your money, and he's on your team, and he's stealing all your kills.
I don't think Emo Rin's going to be too upset by that, however. He's going to be like, just keep going, son. I'll sit back and I'll be here to get a frag whenever I want to.
Oh, what can you say after a match like that? Atletico. That's the whole story from the start to the finish.
Yeah, you know, I think Fnatic might actually be watching this match and be thinking, all right, how do we deal with Ethan?
Oh. How do you deal with a player that can just run around and get 15 kills and 1 death in a competitive Pro League match? I mean, DedSet are the second to bottom in the Pro League on the ladder at the moment. They're 7th. I don't know, what do we what can we say for that, dude? I don't know.
Just, you know, we can say, what can we say to that? Because there's literally nothing.
I mean, that's it, mic drop. I would drop my mic, but it's on a mic stand, so I can't really do that. But all right, that was Oregon, 6-0. Very, very, very decisive. It was absolutely, as one of my favorite casters would say, brutal, savage, wrecked. Atletico just insane right now, and DedSet can't even hold a candle to them. I mean, I feel like even if this was like a 1v5, Ethan would still have a pretty good shot at it. Heading on to Coastline, what's going to happen? Are we going to see DedSet find a round? Are we going to see Shifu find a kill? Is Ethan going to hit double digits again? So many questions, and I think that we know the answer to most of them.
All right, so we're going to head to a break, and we'll find out after that, guys. Stay tuned.
Stylish on the outside, savage on the inside. Legion by Lenovo.
G'day guys, and welcome back to the Rainbow Six Pro League for Australia and New Zealand. We're here with the last match of night, and I'm Dev Martyr. Joining me once again, the one and only Moustache Fist. How are you going, mate?
I'm not bad, thank you. I can't think of a name for you. Makeup Martyr, that's it.
Makeup Martyr, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're about to see the last map of Atletico versus DedSet. I feel like this has been a little bit of an early night, don't you think, Monkey? And I think that's on the back of a man called Ethan.Atletico.
Yeah, you know, Ethan, the hard carry, I should say, as we are going to be heading to Coastline. I don't know, as we said, you know, nothing to say about the first map, and, you know, we might be seeing more of the same here.
It was a 6-0, to remind you guys who weren't watching. Yeah. Atletico really just took it away from DedSet without giving them any opportunity to really bring it forward. Now, for this second map of Coastline, default bans were Oregon and Clubhouse, Oregon being the default ban due to that being the map that was just played. Atletico banned out Villa and Consulate, DedSet getting rid of Bank and Border. I mean, do you think that Coastline's going to, you know, favor any specific team?
Well, it's definitely been a very strong map for Ath, traditionally. We did see them take it away from Darksided last week, and, you know, that's probably a team, well, that's a team that did take a map off them. But, you know, this team of DedSet.
Yeah.
No, are we being too harsh? I don't know. I feel like we just...
It's hard not to be, but we just witnessed a 6-0.
Yeah. And... It's like the Cloud9 of Australia at the moment.
You want to go there?
Yeah, I went there.
For Cloud9. Anyhow, Atletico are looking very strong. And like you said, I mean, we can only expect mathematically that they're going to win on this map because they beat DedSet and Darksided, and most people would say that Darksided are the far superior team to DedSet, even though they have the same initials. Nonetheless, copping right into it, Atletico banned out IQ once again. That's a direct counter to Fisho guy. DedSet got rid of Buck.
That Buck,
yeah,
that Buck ban for me is very interesting because we've done some study on how Atletico like to play this, and their attack onto Penthouse and Theatre, yeah, definitely relies a lot on a Buck. We see a lot of Buck from them on this map. So yeah, great targeted ban.
Yeah, really great stuff from DedSet. They've cleared on their homework. It's, if you watch any Atletico match on this map, it's just all Todd going below with the Buck. Atletico getting rid of Jaeger again, just like they did on Border, and just like we saw earlier today, banned out by Outlaws on Border. Sorry, I said Border. I meant
Oregon.
Oregon for the first one. Oregon when I was talking about Atletico, and then Border when I was talking about Outlaws. But yeah, nonetheless, it gets me. I mean, you said it wasn't a very impactful ban. On Border, I think it's very impactful. Not as much here on Coastline. However.
Yeah, and then we're going to see the Smoke banned off at the end. Now, Smoke can be a great counter to Monty. So I wouldn't be surprised if DedSet, once they get to attack, are planning on pulling out some of the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would have gotten rid of a Legion instead, but, you know, it's fair. Silex is a notorious Smoke main for Atletico, so maybe he has to do something a little bit different here when that operator has been banned. No mirror ban means that, well, it's funnily enough, we didn't have a mirror ban on Oregon either, and yet we didn't have DedSet play mirror once.
Yeah, it really feels like that's what they stratted out without a mirror, so, you know, expecting the ban to come on through, and when it didn't, they just, you know, kept stuck to their guns, and maybe it wasn't the best idea in the world, of course. And we see Todd on that Yang once again after the Jaeger ban. He's really been, you know, deciding this is the avenue his team wants to take with this one.
Now, with Kitchen and Service Entrance being the first round and a mirror being available, however no smoke, do you think that this is going to favor the defense? I mean, not typically what we would see for a first bomb site. I mean, Coastline, all bomb sites are viable, but here on Kitchen, do you think that this is something that's going to favor the defense just out of pure unexpectedness?
Well, no, because, you know, from what I saw of Atletico over the weekend playing against the Asian teams in Coastline, like, we saw it twice, or I saw it twice, them playing it. But they definitely, you know, they definitely had to tackle bomb sites, and they knew what they were doing on each one.
Yeah. Now, while they don't have a smoke, they do have the Maestro, something we don't see a lot of, and I think that in conjunction with the mirror and the Legion is going to help out a lot with, you know, plant denial and just general, you know, choke pointing, and also that That's Valkyrie, something that I personally love to play on coastline. You get a lot of intel onto the outside, and there are lots of opportunities for runouts and thrown C4s, etc. It's, if anything, the Ella I'm a little bit confused about, but I say that every time Ella is picked, so I'm sure you guys are all sick of me by now.
Yeah, well, you know,
close here. Uni inside of the penthouse. He's got some backup as well from Flossie, who's taken one hit from, I do believe that's Imarin on the window. And it does look like that's where Atletico are going to be starting their push. 3 players upstairs are ready to receive, but they're not playing very closely together. Uni needs some backup. He's getting very aggressive and no one's ready to refrag.
Yeah, so one thing I was going to talk about was not having the smoke. Like, that does take off a standard shotgun as Todd's going to find Uni, trying to peek aggressively. But that's also going to, like, lead into, like, are you ready to set up your site without having the smoke?
Well, we have the secondary shotgun pistol revolver from Fisher Guy and the shotgun from Vicious, so I don't think it'll make much difference. But nonetheless, we're into the action here, and Imarin takes down Flossie as well. Very disappointed to see that DedSet just were not refragging. They had 3 players up there, and they weren't playing together to refrag. Very strange placement from the Mirror on the flank here, but potentially could do some damage if he plays with Shifi on this flank. Play together, refrag, don't go solo, because 2 players have already died due to that.
Yeah, it looks like the Mirror's just going to head back to site, as there's a minute on the clock left. So maybe they're going to just try and, you know, bait them to push site and then rely on Shifi getting a backstab off. So
Shifi's
like
been injured. Yeah, and finished off. There you go. Unfortunate, but there's a sister rivalry going the way of the attacking of the Zofia. The elder sister comes victorious on that one. Now it's just the 2 1-speed, 3 armor anchors to hold it against 5 very ready and poised attackers.
Oh,
that was
what?
a wallbang. That was disgusting.
And Fisher Guy 1-on-5. Lion charge coming out. Ethan Rin just going to shoot him in the back after he does find Silex. Oof. You know, we need to see Ethan's Moss files, I feel like.
Yeah, this has been pretty... this has been pretty insane. For it, this is a player who's never played comp before. I mean, I do believe he came from Xbox, and just coming over to PC, joining the #1 team, #2/number 1 team in Australia and New Zealand, just doing so much. And I don't understand that wall bang. Where was he? How did he land that shot just repelled upside down, pre-firing through the wall?
I don't know. I played against Ethan in a 10-man the other week on the coastline, right? He does have some nutty shots. He has very good game sense, and I suppose that's only, you know, because he's come from console as well, where, you know, on PC, you see a lot of players seem to just rely on their aim, whereas console players like to try and gain the advantage using game sense. This is just obvious general, big, sweeping generalizations, of course,
yeah.
but
that's,
you know.
Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting discussion to be opened up. I mean, I'd love to be able to weigh on it, but all I can say is what I've been told, because I've been a PC player since launch. So yeah, I mean, and I guess you could say, you know, without having any other option to argue that PC does have a much higher skill ceiling in terms of the aim. Like, it's just there are sometimes, like, it's just easier to aim with a mouse and keyboard. So it's easier for people to just get shots, you know, at a lower level. And also there's, you know, there's a higher skill cap, which just means that in Xbox you have to rely on playing smart. And so, yeah, and Ethan coming from Xbox, he's got a lot of that, and he's bringing it to PC and combining that with insane mechanical skill, and it's working for him. Now, the exact same bomb site's being brought out for DedSet. Do you think there's anything that's going to be different, or are we just going to see an essentially flawless round come out again?
No, they just need the 3 players on the top floor to stay alive. Like, saw Uni charge outside, like he should have been followed up by one and then followed up by another. Made sure they could confirm that kill, you know what I mean?
I completely agree with you. I was so happy to see the 3 DedSet players playing so close to each other inside a theater at the start of the round, but then they just fell off one by one. Started pushing solo. You can't have that.
Yeah, and we're going to see those mute jammers getting put up above. Flossie expecting the pressure to come from the window again. The Blackbeard window, I should call it.
Yeah, you could call it that. And, well, Ethan just holding this angle now. He's been insane so far, and I should hope that DedSet are going to work together to take him down.
Well, 2:15 on the clock. Not much progress has been made from either team. As Rin's going to be pushing in, going to try and... he's probably going to shoot this Mute
He's just checking to see where players are and if there's anyone inside of the theater, because obviously shooting those concussion mines that are proximity detonated will give him the intel, and now the drone's also following up on that intel. Flossie finally taking down that drone, but he's going to be secured in position. Imarin finds one, but finally a refrag is ready to come out from Deadset, but it doesn't matter because Atletico are there for a refrag of their own, plus interest onto Shifi.
Yeah, here we go then. Gonna see more shots coming from that door that Ethan was at earlier, where he got that nutty ass wallbang. It looks like Uni's trying to go for that late flank on the alibi. Surely the pressure on site is going to be pretty big for Vicious. He's done great as an anchor so far, but like, you know, every time it seems like he ends up getting pushed in like a 1-on-4, and little he can do.
Oh no, how did that happen? Derper almost left his life get taken away, but he finally does get taken down. The Vicious finds one as the anchor with the Vector. This insane weapon nets him 1 kill, but he's got Ethan pressuring onto him, as well as other players from Atletico finally getting flashed out. He's getting completely pinched. Derper cleans him up. Second round goes for Atletico.
All right, there we go then. Oh, beautiful shots there by Derpe. You know, we saw Derpe get a 1v4 clutch on this map over the weekend.
Well, so, yeah, he's a pretty nutty player, honestly. I was a bit skeptical when we first saw him kind of come over. You know, funnily enough, I'm going to make this connection right now. The first time that Derpe was really seen in the competitive scene was when he played on Deadset.
Yeah, and like
not
a completely different lineup. Yeah,
not this lineup, not this team, but this org. He played on Deadset, which is a team that no longer exists. It was formerly known as Aftermath, was the team that it was originally known as, and it had a number of players on it. I do believe it was.
I think it did have Vicious.
Yeah, no, I think Vicious was on Medusa at the time, if I do recall.
Maybe.
Correctly.
Okay, I could be wrong.
So yeah, it was Derper and Nazgul and Cobalt and Executor and Shaq, I believe that's the lineup. Anyway, they were a really good team. They actually managed to take a few maps off Atletico at various points, and people thought they were, you know, the next big up-and-coming thing. But a lot of the players kind of dispersed. Eventually, the team didn't go so well. And, well, you know, it's great to see that Derper has found a home on Atletico. When he joined, I was a bit skeptical because, you know, as for Aftermath, as for that Deadset original roster, he wasn't the standout player for me. I would probably give that to maybe Cobalt's, but nonetheless, you know, Derper really, you know, he's so at home on Atletico. He's just so well, and he plays so well. As an anchor, he really fills that role.
Yeah, he definitely does. You know, one thing that I think someone said to me that, you know, Derpe was a bit reluctant to become core. Like, he wanted to stay on as a sub, but, you know, Atletico are losing players. That's when they'd lost Neofighter and someone else. And, like, you know, we really need to bring in, you know, someone. And they wanted Derpe, but Derpe was like, oh, I don't know, guys. I just want to stay sub. But in the end, he committed to it and, you know, just taking him places for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to talk about Atletico subs. I feel like there's an ongoing kind of joke in the ANZ scene about how many subs does Atletico have, because it used to be, you know, you'd look at their list of subs in the Discord server and it'd be longer than the list of core. But no, those days are behind us, and yeah, Atletico really shaping up with a solid core 5 roster, and you know, I'm really happy with how Derp has been performing in it. Nonetheless, let's stop talking about that. Let's have a look at this Deadset hold, which we didn't really mention is actually on the bar. So bar probably the least picked side of all these on coastline, but Atletico's picked it before, and I really like the setup that we've got. You know, a nice mirror presence downstairs holding the A site and looking towards the main front office, and also a mirror upstairs holding hookah.
Yeah, well, Atletico definitely practiced in attacking this bomb site, as they did come up against it a few times over the weekend. And, you know, I think this is the bomb site where Derpe did get that 1v4 clutch I was talking about, so I think they know what they're doing here is they're going to send the drones in to see what they can see. Shifi's trying to hide at the bar in Sunrise. He's been really liking this Ella, hasn't he? But he hasn't really done much with it.
I mean, at a glance, Ella is an operator that you pick with your best fragger and you just let them go for lots of kills. He's found one finally, but and it seems a bit odd to me. No utility, and we're gonna be completely flashed. This is what it feels like to face up against Emo Rin right now. Flossie finds one, Derpe gets taken down, but Ethan refrags that. Plank goes down from Silex. Ethan finds his second for the round. Uni's the last one. Coming up against his former team, he has 3 more to find, and it's not looking too great for him. He knows that there's one inside of the offices, inside of the kitchen, but that is the Blackbeard. It's pretty easy for Ethan to clean up that one.
Yeah, he's going to peek right on into Uni there. Pretty easy kill, to be honest. And there we go. Atletico stretching out their lead once again.
That's 3 straight. Well, 2 kitchen and 1 bar. Interestingly, not a single round yet taken to the 2 primary and secondary bomb sites that we would expect of Penthouse Theatre and Hookah Billiards, but, you know, DedSet just don't want to take us there. I mean, they really needed to ban Blackbeard. I mean, I like the idea that they specifically counterbanned Todd's Buck, but Ethan's just doing everything here on this Blackbeard.
But what's more is they've banned Buck, but like, you know, it seems like they're taking these downstairs bomb sites thinking they can't really Buck from above, but that's not how Atletico attack these bomb sites. They use the Buck specifically in their strategy for the upstairs bomb site.
Yeah, and I mean, Atletico are just opening up all these angles and winning all these gunfights. Their pinches have been perfect. They've always got, you know, like for example, that last round, Ethan pushed in through kitchen solo, just a solo Blackbeard, where you'd expect a Blackbeard to just sit sitting on a window the whole round. No, Ethan pushes in almost, you know, like he's an Ash or something, you know, playing well with these, you know, getting the positioning that really matters. But on top of that, he's also got that amazing primary weapon and gadget of Blackbeard to secure every single gunfight he comes up against. And that's really how Atletico have been winning this, just splitting up, but only in the most, you know, clever ways. They're not splitting up in a negative way. They're splitting up in a way that allows them to spread out just enough so that they have all their bases covered and they can really use their crossfires to their fullest extent. Shifi switching off Ella and onto Alibi. Just bring something with some real utility, mate. Come on.
So that, yeah, as you said, they're spreading out, but like, you know, still enough to be able to cover each other. It's like, you know, they're finding the optimal way to attack something as a net, I suppose, around their opponents.
Yeah. Something that we see the teams do, but it can also be punishing. I mean, if you play as a defender, you know, and refrag everything, going always in 2v1s, then you're always going to have the advantage and you're likely to win that. And I feel like that's what DedSet need to read into it, but I'm not sure if that's what they're going to be going for at the moment. They do have a nice little setup here with Castle and Mira, but that Castle barricade is going to get countered. Flossie, a beautiful shot. Imran is not having a good day.
Yeah, well, it seems like there's a change in DedSet. They're just going all out aggression. They are peaking everything right now, and it's worked out in their advantage to start off with. They've done some damage to Derpe. They've found Emo Ren. Looks like Sheafy wanted to get aggressive, but that's not going to happen. But Todd's going to find Flossie. It's the Castle off the board.
EE1D is working just so well for Atletico, and the timing is impeccable at the moment as well. Uni wants to peek onto Ethan, but I mean, that's a Blackbeard, and what's more, that's Ethan. What are you going to do? You want to take that fight? I don't want to take that fight. Nobody wants to take that fight.
Who'd be peeking Ethan? Literally nobody.
And I mean, that's something that Atletico are using to their advantage as well, because I mean, if no one's picking Ethan, then it lets Derpe just, you know, walk on in. Derpe pushing up the service entrance now. Uni just trying to figure out where he needs to play inside of the Sunrise Bar. There are so many different options, but what's the right choice?
Yeah, there's a minute and a half off the board now. Drone's going to be coming out, seeing what they can see, seeing what map control is theirs to take for Atletico. As they're not putting Ethan in the kitchen this time. I think they might be a bit worried about a flank. Got Vicious up above, going to try and provide overwatch on Fisher Guy and Sheafy in a very long flank.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I don't know if I think I can see Dev's mouth moving, but I can't hear it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just because I'm a magician and Fisher Guy takes down Ethan. Unbelievable that Ethan's actually off the board. Silex is going to get the diffuser going down, and well, Fisher Guy's going to find himself another kill, stepping up for his team, but Plant's gone down. 2 players to hold this diffuser.
Yeah, beautiful shot there as it's now a one-on-one. Vicious finding Silex. Him against Derpe. He is lit, however, but so is Derpe. As he was done with some damage by the spawn peak. He's going to jump on outside, but Derpe's there for the shots. 4-0 for Atletico. There was some great adjustments there from DedSet, but even with their hyper-aggression, wasn't enough to win it in the end.
What do you do in that position if you're Vicious right there on the mirror? You know where Derpet is. You know he's outside because you saw him firing. Do you jump out and go for the kill? Do you stick the diffuser and bait him? The problem is, being a 1-speed, him jumping out told Derpet exactly where he was, and he had to sprint in order to make sure he wasn't detected for too long, but Derpet was just holding the angle. He gets the sound cue. He gets everything. He pre-fires that. What's the best decision there is Vicious?
Honestly, I think you really need to bait him into peeking. You tap that diffuser a few times, make him peek around, and that's when you get aggressive on him. Make him have to expose himself. And there's still tons of time on that.
Exactly. I mean, you could have, smack the window so it sounds like you're jumping out, and then run away, go onto the diffuser, use that sense of doubt that Derpa has in his mind to bait him into peeking you, and then finally clean him up. And I mean, it's so difficult to say, you can do a clutch in your head 100 times through and say what could you have done better, but unfortunately, DedSet had themselves in an advantageous position in a 2v3. They needed to win that, and in a 1v1, they needed to win that. And if they don't, then they're going to go down 6-0 just like they did on the last map.
Yeah, and here we go upstairs this time. I suppose what's important to note is maybe that buck ban was a bit of a waste, right? Because as we've seen all day, Todd's been playing the Ying.
Yep, very good point. And I think the problem is here that, if you're DedSet, you want to ban all these operators. You want to ban Lion because it's been completely stalling out DedSet. You want to ban the Blackbeard because Ethan's been going nuts. And if you didn't ban the Buck, surely Todd would be abusing you with it as well. So you can't ban more than one attacker. What can you do? You just have to learn to play in such a way that allows you to counter. Now, we haven't had such a good match so far from DedSet. Even Uni unable to find a frag so far. He's staying on the Valkyrie, so he's bringing some utility to help out his team. And finally, Shifi is going to be bringing some meaningful utility with that Maestro. But Maestro can be quite a difficult operator to use. I'd like to see him make use of it fully.
Yeah, well, we are up on that top floor once again. Mute going to try and deny those drones. It seems like that's all it's really been set up for. His drone's going to come in below, so they'll take control of below and then work her way up above and try and open up into VIP, I'd say, like from Atletico, especially seeing as, they can't go for what they like to do, which is to push straight into theatre.
Yeah, they like to just open up the floor of theatre, but as we could see, the defenders have opened up a lot of holes in the default plant spots of Penthouse, so now that Atletico are aware of that, they just make sure that they have someone to hold those late flanks in the main area inside of service entrance. And Fisher Guy's toying with fate here. Aggressing onto this window is not likely to work out so well for him because Ethan's on fire on that window. Emo in though, right on the top. This is as sweaty as you can get, right? Right on the roof holding those angles. He's going to take down Flossie.
Yeah, that can be rather tilting. As you said, Flossie is flirting on the boundary on the border between life and death there with Ethan. But he has to... he's alive for now, and he is quite safe, I'd say, like right behind that bomb. It's just when the drone comes down and confirms his position, that's when you start to think that's the signature of his death warrant.
There's still 1 minute and 20 for Atletico to make stuff happen. This just takes a bit of damage, but cleans up Emo Rin, which is a nice start for the DedSet roster. Taking down the first player for their side. Interesting that Vicious is being so aggressive in this hallway, but if it's working, then I can't question it, can I?
Yeah, so Ethan suspecting someone might be behind the closet, and Fisher Guy's going to move, and Ethan just doesn't see that at all.
Unfortunate timing for Ethan, but to be honest, he's had a lucky game anyhow. I don't think he can complain. Todd's going to drop into the bathroom. The EE1D is going to freeze all of the defenders in place. Uni gets spotted out and takes down Durfair, but now this push into side is going to allow Silex to get one. Todd doesn't know how many players there are, and there's actually 3 players. Maestro, in fact, is going to be denying that using his device. He takes down Silex. Todd still trying to find this kill. Finally, Vicious takes him down. It's just Ethan to find 3. He almost managed to find Uni, but he doesn't finish it off. He's dealing with this Maestro device, pre-firing through the wall. Now the MPX is going to deal the damage, and it's Navy SEALs versus Navy SEALs. The Deagle cleans up Ethan, and oh my goodness, DedSet have a round.
Yeah, it's only taken them 10. 10 against them to 1 for them now. And, it's when they decide to defend this bomb site upstairs, where their target ban really does work in their favour. No buck, and Atletico can't do the attack that they normally like to do.
Yep, it makes me question, why didn't we see Penthouse picked a lot earlier from the defense. I mean, it was the only round they managed to win in that half. Why did they try and toy so much with Kitchen and Bar? Because they lost 4 rounds on those 2 bomb sites. As soon as they went to Penthouse, they won it.
Yeah, and here we go into Atletico's first defense round now, full 1, and they're favoring the bars as well, Sunrise and Blue.
I think this is going to favor them. We just saw Deadset get punished for picking these bomb sites and not going with kind of what's more default, what's more on meta. I think it's going to be the same story for Atletico.
You know, well, Atletico do favor those 2 downstairs bomb sites as their first 2 choices. Then Hookah, they don't really go to Penthouse at all. So I think they know exactly what they're doing on these bomb sites.
Yeah, well, on the first map, Atletico only won 1 defense, and that was on Dorms on Oregon, but they only had to play 1 because they were 5-0 up after the first half.
Yeah.
Now, your Atletico have to win at least 2 defenses to make this work, and it looks like we're seeing Atletico do their typical hold. Bringing out the alibi, though, from Todd. I'm very curious to see how they're going to utilize those and whether they're actually going to have an impact, because I would seriously question how much alibi has actually been helping teams in the competitive scene.
You know, I think alibi can be really strong if you can put her in positions where you can see 4 people through the floor, especially with like how often it pings. It'll help you like get a bead on where they are and see 4 through the floor. So I wouldn't mind seeing some of that coming out at some point.
No, I agree with that. I mean, even pre-fires for the floor if you have the vertical advantage. Nonetheless, a nice setup. We've got even Silex opening up a lot of holes into the blue bar. That allows for some great late flanks through that main courtyard. Really like to see that. And, well, if a lot of people like to push through that south side of the bomb site into blue bar, you can counter that pretty easily.
Yeah, all right, well, 30 seconds off the clock. Where's the attack coming out from? What are they doing? They're sending their drones in. Looks like we're going to see Vicious repelling on the balcony, of course.
Looks like a east side take. Flossie's going to be entering. He gets concussed by that Echo drone. Todd does get punished, though. Uni pushes in. On the Ash, just a bit of a comfort pick, really. And, well, he's going to be entering in and nicely taking down the captain of Atletico.
Yeah, look, that's very fast from Deadset. That's what we like to see. Top floor control pretty much all in their hands. Every one of the defenders is downstairs.
And now as we progress on further into the round, Vicious the Blackbeard has taken quite a bit of damage and as such is going to be fairly vulnerable. You don't want your Blackbeard to be in such a position, but nonetheless, Uni has used some of his, well actually I believe that utility was used by the defenders or at least one of his teammates. And he's going to be trying to find angles into the bomb site, but the thing is Atletico are playing nice and loose, which means that it's a bit more difficult to actually corner them and use that vertical potential onto them.
Yeah, well, they do have the man advantage here, Deadset, as they're going to be putting their vertical pressure on. As you said, Hatch has opened up. I'm sure that mirror is going to be denied anytime soon. And then that bar's going to be a lot easier to take. But as I say that, Derpe is going to find Fisher guy. That's the Dokkaebi calls off the table.
Yeah, and well, Derpe is going to find a second one. That's Flossie. There's a lot of utility now being rejected by Echo. And, well, I'd like to point out, look at how Derpe and Imarin are playing so close to each other. Even Silex there. Like, I mean, there's no way. I mean, you can take 1v1s here, but these guys are going to refrag. Uni now his position has been revealed inside of the kitchen due to that lesion mine. He's taken about 25 points of damage, and now he's going to be trying to push on through that side. But, I mean, he's got so many people to contend with and a bit of barbed wire, which is going to clear out by that explosive charge that he does have in his utility.
Yeah, looks like he wants to change his angle of attack, and he might just run right into the roamer of Ethan. Ethan, easy kill there, as it's up to the 2 players pushing in from the pool entrance. They're going to walk into a slaughterhouse. The C4s are going to rain down on above from them, as well as the shots of Silex as he's peeked on into them. Here it comes, the double for Kobe. Good night. There we go. Shifi and Vicious go down, and that is Atletico putting themselves onto map point.
Map point, serious points, if you will. It's 1 round away from this being an absolute bloodbath. I mean, it has been a bloodbath so far. What can Deadset say, really, to redeem themselves in this game? It's been Atletico from start to the finish. The one breath of fresh air that Deadset did manage to bring to us was just 1 round to go, but it looks like we're not going to return to that. Atletico have can taste this victory from here, and I don't know what DedSet can do because it looks like this match is already over.
Yeah, if there's one word to describe this for Atletico, it definitely has to be dominant. They are looking untouchable by DedSet.
And a lot of people were very critical of Atletico for their, performance at this Paris qualifier LAN in Sydney just last weekend, where they did come last out of the 4 teams who were there, one from each of the sub-regions of APAC. But that said, I mean, talking to the Atletico, representatives, they weren't, as a team, necessarily focusing on that event. I mean, they were very happy to get into it, but it wasn't their priority to get to the Paris major. And I mean, they knew that they had some very tough opponents. So their priority has been the Pro League, and that's where they've really been shining. And they want to make it to the finals, the LAN finals for this season of Pro League in Tokyo, which is going to be later this year. That's where they're really wanting to be making themselves known. And I think that, I mean, being this dominant in the Pro League is what's going to take them there.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely are stacking up those points that are required. Although, I think the time we see Atletico really seem to buckle is during playoffs.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, single elimination is a very rough format. But, I mean, they managed to do it in the Paris qualifier LAN. The Paris qualifier for ANZ, which was down a spot at the Paris qualifier LAN, if you get my drift.
Yep, I do understand. But potential final round, what do you think? Is final round, Dev? Or?
Yeah. I'm like not trying to have a go at DedSet. I mean, these guys have been a very impressive team from time to time, but I'm surprised they got around. It's just because Atletico have been so good. They've been so dominant. DedSet have really been struggling. They found one, and finally they're entering in together. They've got the gist of this, team play, chemistry, moving together. But yeah, as yet I've seen a little bit, not enough of the being so close as to refrag. And now as Immerin comes around the corner to Flossie, I don't know. There's 2 players ready to hunt Immerin, but Immerin could pick him off one by one. Unless if they play it smart. Shifi finds Ethan. A great job denying that star player of any further kills in this round.
Yeah, good shot from outside. Catches him on the rotate. He's trying to move around. And Uni's also going to find Todd. 5-on-3, Dev. It's
Maybe yells wrong.
Yeah. As there is an issue with
Unfortunately, we're having an issue with the stream.
Well...
That happens, what happens. Yep, so unfortunately we're having some technical issues, but nonetheless, we're going to work through that and get right back into the game, hopefully before too long.
Well, seems like we're back temporarily, but then it broke again.
Well, we're going to go to a break shortly, but we just have to make sure that we're all ready and set up. I think that we've just got to go and, make sure we've got everything up to scruff because, unfortunately we can have some issues. Yeah. Nonetheless, I mean, do you think this is going to be the final round?
Well, it's 5-on-3 now, so I don't really think it's confirmed full stop.
Yeah, I mean... I actually have the feed going. I can see it's actually a 2 versus 2 at the moment. And unfortunately, you guys watching the stream, your feed is not fully back yet. But currently, it's been even back up. At the start of the round, it was really looking to be in favor of DedSet, but not so much anymore. It's now a 1 versus 2. DedSet looking to be about to be sent home. Atletico have 2 players. Immerin is going to clean up the Blackbeard, and well, that's the end of the story. Defuse, GG's coming out. Well played.
Defenders disable the diffuser. Defenders win.
Just like that, Atletico have spearheaded themselves into a victory in this position. And, well, a great job. Unfortunately, we did have the technical issues just in the last moment, and Atletico did win a clutch situation. Pretty impressive. I deeply apologize to you guys, to the viewers, for not being able to see everything there. Unfortunately, there are some issues sometimes. So Nonetheless, congratulations to Atletico for taking that Playday in just such a dominant fashion.
Yeah, it was definitely a great matchup. Atletico really flexing, showing what they're made of here in the ANZ region. As you said, unfortunate issues. You know, we got past that in the end. But overall, 6-1 victory. Not much we can really say except Atletico schooling here.
Atletico really stepping themselves up. And I mean, like we said, after this match, it's going to be 7 wins for 0 draws for 1 loss. And that was to Darksided. Atletico are yet to play Fnatic. I'm really, really keen for that match because that's really going to be able to tell us, you know, is Atletico competitive at the absolute top level? And, you know, I really hope to see it because I think it's very much possible.
Yeah, it definitely is exciting. But speaking of Fnatic, though, we're going to see them tomorrow as here is the schedule then. So, not first up, though. We're going to have Control versus Darksided, and then after that, SYF versus Fnatic. Now, SYF traditionally Fnatic killers, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for both of these matches tomorrow. I mean, Darksided have been looking a bit weaker than usual, a bit weaker than previously, but they have an opportunity to redeem themselves, and Control, I'm sure, are ready to step up to that plate because Control have been taking it to these higher level teams, managing to cop a win against Taboo, which was very impressive, and a draw against SYF, I do believe. And then for the later match, I mean, yes, SYF and Fnatic, I'm really keen to see that one because SYF could really take it to Fnatic. It's entirely possible. Anything is on the cards for that match.
Yeah, especially with the fraggers that SYF have, they can really stand up and take those Fnatic players down, as we've seen it work before.
And that's all we have for this week, guys. So thank you very much to everyone for tuning in to the Rainbow Six Pro League for the ANZ region. Make sure to tune in tomorrow again for the matches you can see on screen at 7 p.m. AEST. But for now, good night.